Imagine waking up in a parallel world where the gender ratio is 1 man to every 5 women. Sounds like every guy's dream, right? Wrong. In this world, women aren't just assertive, they are hunters. Meet Masado. He thinks he's just living a lucky university life with helpful female friends. But he has no idea that the nice older lady from work is actually recording his showers, and his cute classmate is mentally plotting to eliminate any girl who gets too close. He thinks he's popular. We know he's prey. Can our oblivious hero survive a world where a simple smile is enough to start a war? Let's find out. Almost everyone has probably wished at some point to be popular with the opposite sex. However, as a random woman forces herself onto the protagonist named Masado, asking him to hang out, he reflects that this is never something he wanted. When he humbly refuses, the girl insists that he at least give her his contact information. Realizing that she will not leave him alone until she gets it, Masado gives up and reaches for his phone. Just then, a girl appears behind him and clings to his arm, whom he addresses as Kumi. Kumi reminds him that class is about to start and drags him away from the strange woman. Thinking that escaping this way is a bit rude, Masado looks back and freezes in terror upon seeing the woman's furious expression as she clicks her tongue. Later at the university, Kumi reminds Masado that he can simply ignore people like that. He explains that ignoring others is harder for him than it sounds, to which Kumi tells him that he is just too nice. That is exactly why she finds him so worrisome, which he thinks is not something she should say about a university student, though in this world she is probably right. Masado is not originally from this world and was transported here a month ago. He had not noticed anything strange at first since it closely resembles his previous world, but he soon realized that this one has an extremely skewed gender ratio of 1 man to 5 women. He does not know the reason behind such a drastic imbalance, but because of it, women in this world are far more assertive. There has even been recent discussion about introducing polygamy. When he came to understand all of this, he was terrified at first. In his original world, he had friends he went to school with, laughing together over silly things, and it was not until he lost that ordinary life that he realized how precious it truly was. He had thought that his normal life was over, but fortunately, he met someone who stepped in as a guardian and made a friend who helps him whenever he is in trouble. Not everything turned out badly either, as thanks to the skewed gender ratio, a beautiful girl like Kumi now pays attention to him. In a way, he believes he is somewhat lucky, and by thinking like this, he is able to stay positive. Although the world has changed, he plans to live as normally as possible. As he grins to himself, Kumi beside him smiles warmly, realizing just how simple-minded he really is. 1 week ago, Kumi had been heading to university while yawning, realizing she had overdone it with gaming the night before. More than that, she is extremely annoyed by OPU players, and believes they should not enter the game just to get some attention. Putting that aside, as she headed toward her classroom, she overheard some people talking about her. When she turned toward the voices, she saw 2 men, one openly rating her looks at 85 points, while the other smugly claimed she barely made the cut. One of them even remarked that if Kumi asked, he might consider her. Kumi stormed off in anger, wondering why men were so arrogant. She believed they made no special effort and had nothing particularly exceptional about them, yet because of the gender ratio they acted entitled, speaking as though they were doing her a favor. As these unacceptable thoughts churned in her mind, she bumped into a boy and quickly apologized. The boy replied that it was fine, but then, for no reason at all, asked if she had fallen for him at first sight and suggested she could become his 3rd girlfriend. This was exactly the behavior she had been thinking about, and now she could barely contain her frustration. Later in the classroom, she is still deeply frustrated over the encounter from the morning. Her friend Mizuho notices and asks what's wrong, saying it looks like Kumi won't make it through to 5th period at this rate. Kumi agrees, and Mizuho tells her she won't be popular if she stays like this and that they should push through for the campus life they once dreamed of. After saying that, Mizuho cheerfully throws her hand into the air, declaring that they have to catch a handsome guy. Kumi still finds it hard to accept. Even though men are rare and considered valuable, she can't stand those scrutinizing gazes. Mizuho then asks who she is aiming for in their badminton club. Kumi replies that she doesn't have anyone in mind right now, to which Mizuho points out that Kato from the club is pretty handsome. Kumi agrees. It's not like she doesn't want a boyfriend. She is just tired of always being in the position of being chosen. She prefers a guy who is kind to women, treats them equally, and has a cleaner appearance. Still, she knows that such a luxury in this world is almost like something out of a fairy tale. Mizuho comments that although Kumi is very cute, she is surprisingly not very aggressive. She believes that if Kumi doesn't go after anyone, she will end up single, something Kumi herself also believes to be true. Later after classes, Kumi receives some very annoying news. Her next class is cancelled, and on top of that, she has no one around with free time. Just as she is getting annoyed by having nothing to do, she hears someone nearby sounding very confused about which classes to take. That person turns out to be Masado, sitting on a nearby bench with his laptop and looking very stressed. Kumi can tell that the boy seems to be in trouble, but when she looks around, she sees no one else near him. She recalls how men usually are and believes someone will surely help him out. Yet, for some reason, leaving him alone feels wrong. She also wonders why she feels there is something different about him compared to the others. She finds him handsome, though not at a celebrity level, so it doesn't seem to be his appearance. Rather, it feels like he is shining from within. She decides to approach him, convincing herself that she isn't expecting anything and is just a little curious, that's all. She goes up to him and asks if he is trying to register for courses, to which he replies affirmatively. He adds with a smile that for some reason his enrollment process got delayed, which catches Kumi off guard. She is so surprised that she wonders whether men even smiled this naturally. She offers to help him, but her nervousness makes her stutter, causing her to panic as she worries that Masado might find it weird. Instead, his eyes sparkle as he asks if she would really help him, which also catches her off guard. She quickly turns her head away to hide her surprise at his pure smile. In the meantime, Masado moves to make room for her on the seat and tells her his department. This surprises her even more, and she wonders whether he moved so she could sit next to him and whether he would freak out if she did. If he does, Kumi is sure she will actually end up crying at her age and be called crazy. Just then, Masado asks what's wrong and she instinctively sits down, saying it's nothing. Seeing his screen, Kumi tells him that they are in the same department and faculty. Hearing this, Masado is surprised and thinks it's a huge help to be assisted by a direct senior. Kumi quickly clarifies that she is a freshman too, which leaves Masado wearing a confused expression. Kumi starts panicking again, wondering if she was too bold as a freshman and whether Masado has mistaken her actions for having ulterior motives. However, it turns out that Masado is instead glad that she is a freshman, as he doesn't have any friends in his year, so her help means a lot to him. Once again, with a warm smile, he introduces himself as Katasato Masado and asks for her name. This surprises her greatly, as he is kind and friendly, completely different from the other boys. She tries to calm herself and put on a smile so she does not embarrass herself further. With that, she introduces herself as Igarashi Kumi, smiling brightly at him. She then turns her face away again, wondering if she had greeted him properly. Masado explains that he does not know which classes to take, and upon a closer look, Kumi notices that his schedule is completely blank. Seeing this, she wonders if this is an opportunity. Since they are in the same department, it should be fine for him to take the same classes as her. She snaps out of her thoughts when Masado calls her name and nervously voices her suggestion that they could share the same schedule. She explains that some classes are already in their second semester, and since she is already attending them, she can explain things and share handouts which would benefit him. However, because she speaks too quickly while nervous, she worries that Masado might find her creepy. Instead, Masado softly calls her name and asks if she is a genius. He agrees that it would really help but asks if she is sure since there is no benefit for her. She assures him that there are plenty of benefits for her, so it is fine. Kumi feels confused, wondering if this is just a dream. Why is Masado not suspecting anything, and why is he not laughing at her? After helping him choose his classes, Masado thanks her, though she does not believe she did much. He then adds that he is heading home, as it is pointless to attend class when his student ID has not arrived. Kumi agrees and says they will see each other once he starts attending. She feels very happy, as this is the first time she has had fun talking to a guy and knows she will see him every day. She notices Masado looking around, so she asks him what is wrong. He hesitates before saying that he has a favor to ask. When she asks what it is, he asks if she could be his friend if it is all right with her. This strikes her heart deeply. All her life she had been the one chosen, but for the first time she has the option to choose. Snapping out of her daze, she replies that of course they can be friends. This makes Masado very happy, and he explains that he does not have a single friend. He tells her that thanks to her, he is starting to look forward to university and then leaves after saying goodbye. After he leaves, Kumi sits on the ground and clutches her chest, murmuring that she cannot take it anymore. Her heart is racing and she keeps repeating Masado's name. To her, he is like a prince, exactly the man she had always wished for, and now she wants all of him. But for that, she knows she needs to keep an eye on him, or other girls will immediately flock to him while he remains far too oblivious. Back in the present, as they walk together, Masado suddenly stops, prompting Kumi to ask what is wrong. He replies that it is nothing and tells her to hold out her hand for a moment, which she does without asking any questions. Masado then places 2 candies in her hand as thanks for earlier, apologizing that they are only snacks. With a smile, he thanks her for helping him again. This makes her heart race once more, and she accidentally says aloud that it is unfair. Before he can ask what she means, she quickly clarifies that it is nothing. What she finds unfair is that Masado does the things she has always wished someone special would do for her, and then, at moments like this, surprises her with small acts of kindness that makes her happy. She believes that his kindness has saved her, even though things are still difficult for her now. Still, she is certain that one day she will become this person's girlfriend. A few days later, outside Masado's apartment, someone reminds him that it is almost noon, to which he replies that he is aware. It has already been a month since he came to this parallel world. In this world, a person named Katasato Masado had existed before him, someone who had just graduated from high school and was preparing for university. At first, Masado felt uneasy after arriving here, but now he lives a normal life, all thanks to a person named Tsukuda Eika. After greeting him good morning, she reminds him that he has a shift today and tells him to come to the shop at 6 p.m. She is the one who helped him right after he came to this world, and since then she has become something like a guardian to him, someone he considers a goddess. Though she is married, it seems that she and her husband are no longer together. Eika then mentions that she noticed him showering right before going to work and tells him that he doesn't have to go that far. Masado explains that he showers late because he exercises and gets sweaty. She then asks how university is going and whether he has made any friends, and he replies that he has. She finds this suspicious and warns him not to let any weird girl trick him, telling him to inform her if he is ever staying out late, and also tells him to drop the honorifics with her already. Masado agrees to all of it and quickly leaves, while she is annoyed that he still hasn't dropped it. Later, he arrives at class and is called by Kumi, who has saved a seat for him. He thanks her and sits down, feeling grateful that she is his friend. Suddenly, she pinches his arm to get his attention and suggests they have a meal together as thanks for saving him a seat. Masado is very surprised by her cuteness and wonders what kind of creature she is, even questioning whether she likes him. He quickly snaps out of it, dismissing the thought as a delusion, and tells her that he cannot tonight because he has a shift. She asks if his shift is always on Friday, and he replies that it is something like that. She then asks about Monday, and he agrees, which makes her very happy as she lets out a small yay. Once again, Masado is surprised by her overwhelming cuteness and wonders if she is doing this on purpose, but he tells himself to get a grip and lets it slide because she is cute. Masado then reflects that in his original world he probably would not have even gotten close to her, as she seems like a very popular girl. Though he does not know much about her friends, he is certain they would want to be in the same class as her. Because of that, he feels a bit bad about keeping her all to himself and asks if this arrangement is really okay with her. When she looks confused, Masado asks whether she would not rather take classes with her friends instead of him. She replies that this is not the case, explaining that she can see her friends at club activities or elsewhere. He then tells her she should take classes with her friends as well, saying that he has already caught up with class and is fine on his own. Upon hearing this, Kumi asks him why, wearing a fake smile with hollow eyes. This shocks Masado, and he wonders if he has said something wrong because even though she is smiling, it feels strangely frightening. A few moments earlier, before Masado arrived, Kumi had entered the classroom and did not find him there. Because of that, she decided to save a seat for him and was in the middle of sending him a message about it, wondering whether he would find it cringe if she added a heart. But she shakes her head, believing he would not mind. It has been a month since she met Masado, and she realizes he is too nice, which makes her worry about what might happen if some terrible woman were to play tricks on him. Thus, she becomes determined to protect him, and to do that, she plans to stay by his side as much as she can during university. In this way, she believes that one day he will fall for her, and just imagining it makes her want to protect him even outside the university. Just then, she receives a message from Masado, sending her a thank you emoji, which she finds cute. But the thing is, they have been spending so much time together that she wonders if this is not the time for progress between them. Just then, Masado arrives, and she is absolutely sure she wants him as her boyfriend. This is precisely why she cannot confess unless she is certain he will not reject her, so she has to move step by step carefully. As the next step is a date, she becomes very flustered imagining seeing him outside this university world and getting to know him better. Thus, she asks him to treat her to a meal, and though she knows it is bold, she has to do it to make him notice her. Then he talks about his shift, and she suggests Monday, which he accepts, making her happy. Overjoyed, she wonders where they will go and if she should ask Masado directly. At that time, Masado asks her if she is really okay with not spending time with her other friends. Her thoughts darken as she replies that is not true, wondering what he means by that. As the conversation continues, Kumi's inner thoughts say that she wants to be with Masado, and even the time they spend together never feels like enough, so him asking that makes her wonder if he does not want to be with her. When she asks why, Masado looks shocked, and simply replies that he thought maybe she wants to take classes with other girls too. She then asks him if he does not like taking classes with her, a question she does not want to say out loud, yet it feels as if she is in a trance. She further asks whether he would rather take classes with some other girl. She believes that someone like her, who is not cute, would just end up being disliked, which she desperately wants to avoid. In her inner thoughts, she begs Masado not to go somewhere she cannot reach and not to push her away. She snaps out of it as Masado repeatedly refuses, saying it is nothing like that. He tells her that he is grateful a beautiful girl like her lets him take classes with her, and that there is nothing better than that, adding that he has no other friends apart from her. Kumi is completely taken aback that he calls her beautiful, so she asks him if he really finds her cute. He confirms it and says he believes it would be good if she had more confidence. Kumi's face turns bright red as she becomes flustered at being called cute. Hearing this from the person she likes makes her extremely happy, and she clutches her face and starts giggling. Later, after classes finish, they part ways, but something still lingers on Kumi's mind. It is the things she unconsciously said to Masado, words she never meant to say, especially when Masado had not even mentioned wanting to take classes with another girl. As she remains lost in thought, her friend Mizuho suddenly appears and clings onto her arm, startling her. Mizuho playfully asks what that love-struck look on her face is about, which Kumi quickly denies, though she blushes, thinking maybe she really did have that expression. Seeing this, Mizuho teases her, saying she is making a maiden's face. With that, she asks Kumi when she is going to introduce him to her, clarifying that she means the boy Kumi is always within class. She also reminds her that they promised they would share information about guys. She points out that right after Kumi said they could not be in the same class together, there was already a guy sitting next to her. Since she herself has a weakness for attractive men, she is glad that Kumi has found someone. Just then, Kumi bows deeply and apologizes strongly, saying that she cannot introduce the guy to Mizuho. Shocked, Mizuho asks why, but Kumi apologizes again and says she is serious. She is determined not to give him to anyone, so she cannot afford to introduce him to another girl. As she continues insisting, Mizuho accepts it, saying she cannot believe Kumi would say something like that while bowing to her best friend. Since that is the case, she tells Kumi to inform her about other guys instead. Kumi agrees, saying she will do her best, and apologizes once more before thanking her. Mizuho then hugs her and teases her, saying she will get a boyfriend first, to which Kumi tells her not to touch her in weird places. Mizuho tells her to give it her all, which makes Kumi even more determined. Ever since falling in love with Masado, every day has been fun and everything around her seems to sparkle. But when other girls get close to him, a dark feeling wells up inside her, and she wonders if she is not enough. Still, because it is Masado, she believes she would do anything for him and give him everything. As she thinks about it, she realizes she is someone who gets jealous very easily. Meanwhile, Masado is playing basketball and wonders what Kumi was talking about earlier, deciding that it is probably fine since she looked happy. Just as he is about to shoot the ball into the hoop, a girl calls out to him from behind. The two seem to know each other as they start talking, while Kumi, back at the university, thinks that she would not like it if Masado were to hang out with another girl. A few moments earlier, since it is Friday, Masado came to the basketball court to play, and according to his routine, he plans to play until his part-time job starts. He likes this spot because it is not crowded on weekdays, but he cannot really enjoy playing in this world since it is full of women. And since Kumi told him not to join her club either, all he can do now is exercise alone. Just as he recalls that he is not truly alone anymore, the short-haired girl calls out to him. She declares that she will definitely win today and then make him give this spot to her. With a smug expression, he calls her a little girl and asks if she has come again. Annoyed, she tells him she is not a little girl. This girl is Yuka, whom he met not long after coming to this world. He found this place because he wanted to play basketball, but he soon learned that Yuka had been practicing here long before he ever showed up. The first time they met, he gave her the spot, saying he was heading back so she was free to use it. The next time they ran into each other, he tried to give her the spot again, but instead she requested a match. Ever since that day, he believes they have grown much closer. And before he knew it, their matches turned into a condition over who would claim ownership of the spot. Right now, he believes he only has the advantage because of their height difference. From what he has seen, Yuka is seriously talented, so he believes he will lose once she grows up. Just then, she says she has a secret strategy today and tries to run past him, which he immediately recognizes. Since he has seen this move before, he tries to block her, but that is exactly what she anticipates. As he steps in, she pivots smoothly and slips past him from the opposite direction. Although he realizes her plan, it is already too late and Yuka is certain she has succeeded. Unfortunately, she trips, losing the ball and is about to fall face first, but Masado catches her just in time, stopping her fall and breaking the impact. This leaves them in a very awkward position, something Masado realizes instantly, as his life flashes before his eyes and he imagines himself getting arrested. Realizing that he has to make her move quickly, he calls out to her. However, she does not respond, which confuses him. As it turns out, she also realizes her position too late and becomes so flustered that she eventually passes out. This deeply surprises Masado, while Yuka, now unconscious, recalls the first time she was able to have a proper conversation with him. 1 month ago, Yuka was walking to school when one of her friends revealed that she was dating someone and had confessed during the graduation ceremony. That friend then asked Yuka whether she had confessed to anyone, to which Yuka replied that she did not have anyone she liked. To her, all the kids in her class were annoying. One day she was sweaty, and the outline of her innerwear was visible, prompting 2 boys to comment on her bra. Hearing this, she quickly tried to hide it, while another boy remarked that she was unnecessarily tall. The boy with him mentioned that he had heard basketball made people taller, but the other argued that no one liked tall girls and that only maniacs did. To lighten the mood, one of Yuka's friends teasingly asked the boy whether she was the right size, which embarrassed him, and he snapped that no one wanted someone like her. The girl then called the boy mean and said that Yuka really stood out, something her friends believed even though Yuka herself did not. Just because she was a bit taller than everyone else, she was teased, and others decided her worth without ever asking her, which she thought was wrong. Because of this, she could not find any of the boys attractive and instead found playing basketball far more enjoyable. That was why her friends called her a basketball fanatic. Unlike Yuka, they had joined the club to get closer to boys. Then one of them suddenly revealed that Yuka was secretly a pervert. Shocked, Yuka quickly tried to deny it, but her friend claimed that everyone knew she read dirty books in class in secret. As another friend was about to reveal that she had found something suspicious under Yuka's bed the other day, Yuka hurriedly shut her mouth. She believed that because she was a girl, she could not help having some interest in men. Later, after parting ways with her friends, she went to the basketball court and noticed someone there, which was rare at that time. As she considered taking turns using the court, since it was just the two of them, she realized the other person was a boy who is Masado. She found it unusual to see a boy practicing alone, but she was soon surprised by how fast he was. She had only ever seen those kinds of moves on TV, so this was her first time seeing someone play so well in person. Her attention was completely captured, and she stood glued to the wire fence as she watched Masado play. Just as she started thinking that he was incredibly cool, he noticed her standing there and their eyes met. Her heart pounded uncontrollably as she realized how handsome he was and wondered whether he smelled nice. Masado then told her that he was heading back and that she was free to use the court. This caught her off guard, and she wondered whether he was leaving because she had come, though she also found him kind for giving up the spot. Then she realized that if they parted ways here, she might never see him again. She told herself to be brave, but when he walked past her, she could not say anything because of how shy she was. Since she remained silent, Masado left, and she could only watch him go and sigh. Still, she was determined that there would be a next time, considering herself a girl who never gave up. That was why the following Friday, when she noticed Masado from her classroom, she quickly dashed to the court, leaving her friends behind. After running all the way from the classroom, she stopped in front of the court to catch her breath. She was relieved to see that he was there. After their first encounter, he had not been around, and she had been very worried. As she watched him play, she was mesmerized by his movements, finding him just as cool as ever. When she stepped onto the basketball court, Masado immediately recognized her. The fact that he remembered her made her happy, but she realized she had to say something now so she would never have to fear not seeing him again. Gathering her courage, she asked him to have a match with her, which caught Masado off guard. Seeing his reaction, Yuka panicked inwardly, wondering whether he thought she was a weirdo, but instead Masado agreed, saying that he was actually looking for someone to play against. With a smug expression, he warned her that he would not go easy on her. When he told her to go first, she found him kind and could hardly believe that she really got to play basketball with him. As they began playing, she could not beat him, but she found it more fun than anything she had ever experienced and wished the moment could last forever. Masado was impressed and told her that she was good, which she thanked him for even though she did not manage to beat him at all. She found Masado incredible at basketball. She had never lost to boys her age before, and that fact made it even better in her eyes, prompting her to grin. Masado then asked whether she was out of breath and reminded her to stay hydrated. When she checked her bag, she realized she had forgot to bring her water bottle. Masado offered his, but she nervously refused, saying she had some allowance and could buy one herself. He told her not to worry about it and insisted that she use his. As he held the bottle out to her, she noticed that it was already open, meaning he had already drunk from it. She became extremely flustered at the realization that drinking from it would be an indirect kiss. She tried to compose herself, but she could not stop panting, desperately wanting to drink it. Telling herself that it was a normal thing, she attempted to take a sip, but her mind filled with thoughts of Masado's lips. Before she could even drink, she lost consciousness. From that day on, she remembers seeing Masado as seductive, and though she never got the indirect kiss, she feels oddly happy to be able to sit on his chest. Just as that thought crosses her mind, she regains consciousness and Masado asks if she is okay. She replies that she is fine, but as she realizes she passed out again, she wonders whether Masado now thinks she is strange. He reassures her that it is completely fine, but since it is getting late, he suggests heading home for the day and she agrees. Yuka's mood sinks despite finally getting to spend time with him, feeling that she ruined everything. Masado then places a hand on her shoulder and tells her that it is fine, saying that he will come back next week so she can take the court again then. His smile and how close he is leave her deeply flustered. He lends her his towel, telling her to wipe her sweat properly and assuring her that it is freshly washed and that he has another one for himself. The thought of using Masado's towel makes her heart race. He encourages her to have more confidence, telling her that even though things did not go perfectly today, her strategy was great and she is getting better and better, which makes things better for him too. After saying that, he leaves, telling her that they will meet again next week. Once he is gone, Yuka reaches for the towel and realizes that Masado always says exactly what she wants to hear. Ever since they met, she has come to understand how wonderful it is to like someone, her heart now completely captivated by him. As she thinks this, she presses the towel to her mouth, wondering whether it is really okay for someone like her to feel this way about him. She then softly apologizes to Masado for being a bad girl. Later, Masado is working his part-time job, which happens to be at a bar. No matter how long he has been working there, he still can't get used to the atmosphere. Even worse, watching the senpai who has always been kind to him act all cutesy is genuinely painful for him. When Eika took him in, the condition she set was that he work at her bar Festa. Everyone treats him kindly and the job isn't difficult, but the flirtatious atmosphere is something he simply can't adjust to. Fortunately, since he isn't old enough to drink, he can't sit with customers. However, one of the women suddenly asks him to drink with her. He politely refuses, explaining that he can't drink, which the woman clearly dislikes, until one of his seniors steps in and distracts her using his natural charm. Masado walks away with a sigh of relief, but because he can't drink, he can't accept most customer requests and can only listen to them. Just then, one of his coworkers approaches and informs him there's a request from table 3. He adds that it's the usual customer, teases that Masado has a regular now, and tells him to take good care of her. Realizing who that usual customer must be, Masado quickly heads over to table 3 and greets the woman named Sarah. When he comments that she has come again, Sarah nervously replies that she just happened to have free time, which he is almost certain she also said last week. This woman, Mochizuki Sarah, is slightly older, and Masado finds it odd that she would repeatedly request someone as plain and boring as him. Sarah remarks that it must have been tough dealing with that earlier customer, and from that Masado realizes she witnessed the scene. He blames himself, thinking customers come here to drink and enjoy themselves, yet he is someone who can't do either. Sarah agrees, saying it's ironic he works in a place like this when he can't even drink. When he responds with a gloomy tone, she tries to cheer him up by saying she doesn't care. She isn't there specifically to drink with someone. So she declares she is the perfect match for him and he should feel grateful. Hearing that, Masado chuckles and agrees they are a perfect match, thanking her for the encouraging words. He believes that although Sarah is hard to read at times, she is a kind person. Just then, her friend arrives and teasingly claims Sarah is head over heels for Masado. Sarah becomes flustered but quickly excuses herself by insisting she only came because her senpai invited her. She insists that she chose Masado simply because talking to him is the least bad option, to which he replies he is happy regardless. He adds that listening is all he can really do here, so he likes hearing her stories. When she asks if he says things like that to everyone, he firmly denies it. He then offers her a glass and remarks that she is the only customer odd enough to request him. She is surprised, then delighted, learning she truly is the only one who chooses him. Masato feels relieved that she is having fun. In the past, she hadn't looked well at all and he had been worried. While Masato shows her a picture of his cat, Sarah quietly thinks to herself that he is adorable, and because of him she can keep going. A month earlier, Sarah had gotten into an argument with a senior coworker at her office. The senior smugly and loudly declared that it was no wonder even men ran away from her. Hearing that, everyone in the office began whispering, speculating that she had been dumped. One coworker even revealed that the man in question never believed they were dating to begin with. Her first boyfriend back in university had dumped her as well, asking if she was actually serious and then admitting he already had 2 other girlfriends. She was shattered. Before she could feel anger or hatred, she cursed her own stupidity. She asked herself why she had been happy with someone like that. Was it because everyone around her had boyfriends and she was jealous? She wondered if she had believed any guy would do, berating herself as an idiot again and again. Ever since then, she has lived alone to the point where she no longer even feels jealous. She simply wakes up, works, sleeps, and repeats. Then one day, one of her coworkers suggests they go to a boys' bar, a place she always visits, and tells her that there are handsome guys there, so it might be good for her mental health. Sarah honestly just wants to go home and sleep, but since this coworker Maki has been helping her so much lately, she can't refuse. Maki adds that Sarah hasn't been looking well recently, so she thought inviting her might help her feel better. Hearing this, Sarah is surprised and agrees, which makes Maki so happy that she hugs her, saying she's sure Sarah will enjoy it. Sarah hopes so too. Though she has never been to a place like this and considers herself a boring woman, she still can't turn down Maki's thoughtful gesture. She decides she'll make some casual small talk and then hurry home. Upon entering the bar, Maki is greeted by a guy she clearly knows, and she replies in a soft, affectionate voice saying she's come again. This shocks Sarah, who questions whether Maki really sounds like that. While she is still processing it, the guy named Yusuke asks who she wants to request tonight, and Maki instantly answers that of course it's him because she is devoted to him. Seeing this unexpectedly girly side of her senpai is deeply shocking to Sarah, and she wishes she had never witnessed it. Just then, more handsome boys greet them, and Sarah blushes at the sight. As she sits down and drinks, she finds the boys genuinely attractive and thinks that maybe this really will lift her mood. However, she's also certain that men like this are probably laughing at them on the inside, thinking they're just pathetic women who have to pay to even talk to men. But even so, the boys still smile and speak politely to them without the slightest hint of annoyance, so they haven't done anything wrong. She realizes that lately she has become hopelessly negative. For now, she just wants to go home, and although she hopes the host assigned to her arrives soon, she doubts she'll enjoy it. She plans to leave after a bit of polite conversation anyway, since she has housework to catch up on tomorrow. As she wonders whether sleeping until noon might be nice, a voice calls out to her, addressing her as Milady. The voice belongs to Masado, who greets her warmly and professionally. Seeing him, she instantly wonders if he might be an angel while Masado asks her name. Taken off guard, she quickly turns her face away and answers that it's Sarah. She is surprised to see someone like him. He looks innocent and has such a baby face that she feels a strange urge to protect him. Masado asks whether she came after work, and she replies that she has the day off tomorrow. Masado immediately says that's wonderful, explaining that having a day off to look forward to makes Friday nights exciting. She chuckles and agrees, surprising herself that she just smiled. She assumes it's because Masado is completely different from what she expected. When he asks what she plans to do on her day off, she casually mentions that she has recently gotten into gaming. She instantly regrets saying it, worried it sounds too nerdy and that Masado will think she's some kind of otaku. Instead, he looks intrigued and asks what types of games she likes to play. Surprised, she answers RPGs. Masado says he loves RPGs too and wants to hear her recommendations. Hearing that, her mind spirals. She wonders if he's making fun of her and if talking to a boring woman like her is just part of his job. However, reminding herself that this place is meant for her enjoyment, she decides to stop overthinking and downs her entire drink. She then pours out all her frustration about her boss and how she was humiliated in front of everyone, which Masato agrees sounds horrible. Only afterward does she realize she's venting and wonders why she's even talking about this, along with how many drinks she has already had. But even then, she continues, saying the real idiot is her for actually believing her ex-boyfriend wanted a relationship and letting herself get carried away. Masato asks if he was the one who asked her out. She confirms but adds that she should have realized how foolish she was. Masado voices his opinion, saying it's terrible and that she didn't do anything wrong, to which she answers that this is simply how it is for women, adding that they really don't have a choice. Masado calls that unforgivable. He says that just because there are fewer men than women, it doesn't make men superior, and he expresses how much he hates guys who get cocky because of that. Sarah is taken aback, wondering why he is getting angry on her behalf when he could just sit back and wait. Women would flock to him and shower him with attention, but he behaves completely differently from the men she knows. Masado then says that if it were up to him, he would want to date someone like Sarah. The words catch her off guard, her eyes widening in surprise. But more than that, she feels something snap inside her. From that day on, she can't get Masado out of her head, and ever since then, her world has become much brighter. She starts bettering herself to be someone worthy of Masado, and from that point on, work no longer feels like a burden. Every bit of effort she puts in becomes something she is eager to spend on him. She even has a photo of him saved on her phone that she looks at every night, and she can't imagine her life without him anymore. Back to her first time visiting the bar, Maki tells Sarah they are heading out and asks how long she plans to keep flirting. Sarah quickly denies flirting and calls Masado lanky, but her voice trembles, and she can't continue, because she thinks Masado looks cool from every angle, absolutely flawless. So she begs someone to give her credit for at least managing to call him lanky in a desperate attempt to find anything wrong with him. She never meant to make fun of him and is now simply embarrassed, apologizes in her thoughts, calling herself a pathetic adult. Masado tells that he is aware he is lanky, and while holding her hand to steady her, he tells her to come again. With this, she instantly realizes that she likes him. But the problem is, as long as he works here, he will entertain whoever requests him, something she hates even imagining. She doesn't want any other woman sitting beside him. Thus, with a soft voice, she tells him he can't take anyone else's request. Masado accepts, informing her that he only works on Fridays so she can request him every Friday. She finds it unfair because if he says something like that, she'll have to come every week, which she doesn't exactly mind, as even Fridays don't feel like enough time because she wants to be with him more. Suddenly, Maki hugs her from behind, asking what they were flirting about and if Sarah was taking advantage of her while Maki was paying. Before Sarah can respond, Maki, with a cute expression and playful voice, tells her she can't do that, which annoys Sarah, who tells her to erase that from her memory. Maki then says she got to see something entertaining and suggests checking out another spot, while Sarah is annoyed as now she can't even tease Maki about what happened earlier. Setting that aside, her life has begun to feel exciting again, something she believes is thanks to both Masado and Maki. After spending a little more time together, they say their goodbyes and agree to meet again on Monday. Later, having stayed out past midnight, Sarah checks the schedule for the last train. Then out of the corner of her eye, she notices Masado in normal clothes walking home. Although she knows she shouldn't and that it technically counts as a crime, she starts following him. He senses something, quickly turns around but doesn't spot Sarah as she hides behind a pole. Believing it was just his imagination, he continues walking while Sarah exhales in relief. She knew she is a filthy woman, but not to this extent, and the thought alone makes her sick with herself. Yet she still follows him all the way to his apartment complex, stands in front of his door and learns his full name. She writes the address down, trying to convince herself she will never use it for anything. But then she questions why she is writing it down at all and wonders what is wrong with her. She hears the shower running through the bathroom window and begins giggling. Leaning against the wall, she savors the knowledge that he is just one thin barrier away, taking a shower. As she realizes how completely broken she is and how unstoppable this feeling has become, a recording interface appears on her phone screen. A few days later, Eika informs Masado that a package from the facility has arrived and he thanks her. When he opens it and starts unpacking, he notices several items identical to ones he had owned in his previous world. Mixed in, however, are unfamiliar things. In that other world, he had lived in a foster care facility, and apparently the Masado of this world did as well, which makes him wonder if the two of them somehow switched places. Eika assures him that regardless of what kind of past life he carries, she has already decided to look after him, but she tells him that if he ever chooses to return to the facility, he should simply let her know. After a brief pause, Masado replies that he doesn't want that, as he is grateful for everything she has done. He asks her to look forward to the future, promising that he will repay her once he graduates. She pats his head in response, telling him to enjoy his campus life for now and worry about the rest when the time comes. This makes Masado wonder if having parents feels like this, and he hopes the previous Masado of this world also met someone like Eika. Meanwhile, Kumi checks herself in the glass of a shop. She has finished her skincare routine and believes she currently looks like the cutest version of herself. Just then, Masado calls out to her, startling her, as today is their movie date. He apologizes for surprising her and tells her she looks cute in her outfit, which brightens her mood immediately. She suggests they shop for clothes since they still have time before the movie and asks if he minds. He says it's fine and jokingly asks if she can pick out something cool for him. She takes it seriously, determined to find clothes that make him look even cooler. Later, they end up buying far more than expected, mostly for him, and she apologizes for going overboard. She simply couldn't help herself, everything looked great on him. He reassures her that it's fine and that she helped him tremendously, since he won't need to buy more clothes anytime soon. As they sit in the movie theater, he notices that it is surprisingly empty and wonders if it's because today is a weekday. He then mentions that this is his first time watching a movie in a theater, while Kumi can only think about the fact that they are practically alone together. In her thoughts, she asks Masado if he understands why she chose a romance movie. It is because she hopes he will start noticing her, even just a little. She wonders how he would react if she tried to hold his hand right now. Caught up in the moment, she attempts to reach for him, but fear stops her. She imagines him pulling away with a disgusted expression. Even so, she wants to feel his warmth, if only for a second, so she lightly presses her pinky against his hand. She feels how warm he is and hears nothing but her pounding heartbeat. She wonders if he would forgive her if he realized what she was doing. After the movie, Masado says it was really good, and Kumi nervously agrees. She barely watched any of it. She realizes he did not notice her attempt at all. Masado comments that it's refreshing to watch genres he normally avoids and asks her to tell him if there's another good one sometime. This makes her happy, and she replies that they will of course watch all kinds of movies together, and she hopes that one day she can walk hand in hand with him. The next day at the university cafeteria, her face is completely lit up. Yesterday's movie date had been blissful for her. Just then, Mizuho calls out to her, and she thanks her for saving a seat, to which she replies that it's fine. Kumi then notices her meal and asks if katsudon isn't a bit heavy, and Mizuho answers that today is a very important day, so she's going in ready to win. When Kumi asks what she means, Mizuho boldly replies that she plans to win in love, surprising her. Kumi then asks if she's planning to confess today, and Mizuho confirms it, saying that this time she actually has a good chance. When Kumi asks if it's Kato from her club, Mizuho nods, explaining that their eyes have met a lot, so she's sure of it. When Kumi asks if she's confessing just based on that, Mizuho tells her not to mock her just because she's finally on a roll. Kumi gives her an awkward grin and says she isn't really on a roll, but Mizuho sees right through her. Mizuho then suggests they go on a double date once she succeeds, which Kumi immediately recognizes as a death flag. She decides to head out at once, and when Kumi asks if she's serious, Mizuho simply replies that destiny doesn't wait. After she leaves, Kumi grows worried, wondering if Mizuho will be okay since she had been rejected so many times since high school. She knows Kato is friendly enough, but something always felt off about him, so she decides to check on things just in case. Later, she goes looking for the two of them but doesn't find them in their classroom, so she heads to the next one. That's when she hears Kato's voice. Following it, she peeks from behind the wall and hears him telling someone that he only talks to first years from time to time because Satsuki told him to. The person he's speaking to is Mizuho, and he asks if she mistook his goodwill for something else. Mizuho apologizes, but he cuts her down harshly, telling her never to waste his time again or speak of this to anyone, then asks if she knows her place. This enrages Kumi, who internally demands how someone so disgusting and lowly dares to hurt Mizuho like that. As she fumes, she regrets not recording the conversation to expose his real nature, but Mizuho suddenly catches her and says that eavesdropping isn't good. Despite what she has just been through, Mizuho tries to appear cheerful, saying she thought she had it this time and even attempts to poke fun at the situation. With a smile, she tells Kumi that things simply don't go smoothly sometimes. When she tells Kumi to hold on to that double date for now, Kumi assures her that she will find someone far better than that piece of trash. Mizuho then reminds her that third period is about to start and urges her to get going. As Kumi tries to say something more, Mizuho says she's going to cool off outside and that Kumi shouldn't keep her boy waiting. Kumi can tell she's faking it. Mizuho is always so positive and so quick to observe her surroundings, but all Kumi wants is for her to be genuinely happy. After they part ways, Kumi arrives at the next class where she finds that Masado has saved a seat for her. She thanks him and he replies that it's fine, she's usually the one saving seats anyway, so he's just returning the favor. Seeing this simple kindness, Kumi finds Masado to be like an angel, as if all the world's goodness has been condensed into him and God forgot to give him any flaws. Compared to him, she considers Kato nothing more than a piece of garbage. She's still furious about what he said to Mizuho and internally wonders how someone like him could ever think he has the right to hurt her. Noticing her anger, Masado asks if something happened as she looks a bit down and she responds by explaining everything. Masado is disturbed by it as well, while Kumi knows Mizuho is far too kind to ever expose him. Although she wants to speak up, everyone is deceived by his facade, so it is obvious who they would believe. This makes Kumi feel helpless and Masado agrees that they cannot forgive him. But he believes that at this point the only thing they can do is end up happier than he is and tell him that Mizuho has found someone far better than a nobody like him. Hearing this, Kumi calms her anger and agrees because she wants Mizuho to be happy. When Masado asks if Mizuho is really important to her, Kumi replies without hesitation that she is her most important friend. From music, stories, and everything she has experienced, Mizuho has learned that love is beautiful. She wants to fall in love herself and understand what that sparkling feeling is like. Lately, she has been wondering what love truly means and what it means to like someone. People talk about love in so many different ways, yet she cannot see herself in any of them. She learned that everyone compromises, settles, and puts up with things to find someone who is good enough. So she thought she should do the same, because these days just having someone agree to date you feels like something to be grateful for. And if no one makes a move, then they may never get a chance, leaving them vulnerable to exactly what happened to her. She questions why she has to go through something like this. Strangely, she is not even angry because a part of her understands she never truly wanted to date that guy. She only wanted a boyfriend, nothing more. She thinks it was her fault and tries to forget about it, shifting her thoughts to Kumi. She admits to herself how jealous she is of her and even considers dropping by just to stir things up between Kumi and her boyfriend. With that mindset, she decided to find a new guy, but then Kato's words echo in her mind. As her cheerful voice fails to come out, she wonders why, and she leans against a wall and sinks down. Unable to hold it in any longer, she lets everything out and starts crying. Later, as she walks back home, her complexion looks terrible, as it seems like she has got motion sickness from riding the train, which she finds ridiculous. She wonders whether she has always been this weak and finds herself pathetic. Untying her hair, she wonders if the nearby shop sells motion sickness medicine. Even though she is a mess, she believes it is fine because no one is paying attention to her. She then asks herself what she is doing, hurting this much just because she was rejected. As she tries to cheer herself up, she recalls that scene again and tears begin streaming down her eyes. It frustrates her because she already cried so much earlier. As she wipes her eyes, she bumps into someone. She loses her balance and falls while the person curses at her. Although she is hurt, she notices that her vision has gotten blurry, which means her contacts have fallen out. Since she can barely see without them, she scrambles to search for them and apologizes to everyone passing by. People walk past without helping. Some laugh and look down on her while she continues apologizing. She finds herself crawling on the ground, looking miserable, an exact reflection of her current state, which makes her want to disappear. As tears starts welling again and she thinks this is the worst day of her life, someone behind her asks if she is okay. That person is Masado in his work uniform and with a different hairstyle. After hearing that she lost her contact lens, he also crouches down to help her search. She thanks him and tries to figure out who he is, but she cannot see clearly. To her, it feels as though a hero has appeared to rescue her, so she quickly covers her face, not wanting him to see her in such an ugly state. She is shocked that anyone would help such a pathetic girl, and she becomes so flustered that she cannot hear anything but her heartbeat. And she finds it strange. Just moments ago, the world felt unbearable, but now it feels as though in the entire world there are only the two of them. As they search for the contact lens, someone silently watches the scene from afar. Moments later, Masado finally finds the lens and presents it to her in his handkerchief, telling her to be careful. She thanks him and finds him very polite and gentle, and for some reason it feels to her as though he has given her a piece of jewelry. Masado asks if there is another lens and starts searching again, but she bluntly replies that there is not, explaining that only one fell out, which confuses him. She then realizes that if it had been just one side, she could have handled it herself, but she panicked too much and ended up causing trouble. With a smile, Masado asks if everything is okay and says that if it is, that is great. He then asks whether she will be all right and offers to take her somewhere with a mirror, but she replies that it is fine, saying she cannot trouble him any further than this and finds him kind despite her own foolishness. She then notices her heart pounding wildly and wonders why. Masado tells her not to worry about returning the handkerchief and says goodbye, while she tries to stop him but cannot get her voice out. As he walks away, she finds him dazzling, unlike herself, who looks like a mess right now. She curls up on the spot, repeatedly calling herself stupid for not even asking his name. Her heart continues to ring loudly as she remembers Masado looking as though he were sparkling and wonders if this feeling is what she thinks it is. Her face turns bright red as she brings the handkerchief closer to her face, and she then notices a pen lying on the ground, which likely belongs to Masado. Moments later, Masado arrives at the Festa bar and apologizes for being late. His coworkers greet him and ask why he is there since he usually works on weekdays, and he replies that he heard they were short-staffed and came to help out. They then comment on his hair, which was done by his coworker Yusuke, who suddenly hugs him from behind. Yusuke is his senior and had helped him a great deal when he first started working there. Another coworker notices marks on Yusuke's hand and asks if he got hurt, to which Yusuke explains that they are from his girlfriend. Although Yusuke is flashy, Masado believes his mindset is the closest to how things were in his previous world, and he respects that Yusuke is not arrogant toward women. When Masado reminds him that he is busy, Yusuke immediately returns to work and tells everyone else to do the same. Later, as Masado is cleaning, he wonders if the girl from earlier is okay since he had to leave her in a hurry. He also wonders if she was crying because she lost her contact lens and nothing serious had happened. After finishing the cleaning, he is about to fill out the checklist when he notices that his pen is missing. As he wonders where it could have gone, Yusuke calls out to him and tells him to change, saying he has a request from a regular. Realizing that it is Sarah, Masado finds it rare for her to come in on a day other than her workday and wonders if she would have asked for someone else if he had not been there. With no time to fix his hair, he wonders what Sarah will say and whether she will be harsh. He goes straight to her table and calls out to her, but something feels different. When she looks back, she seems a bit gloomy today. Masado wonders if something bad happened at her workplace and decides to cheer her up. He expresses surprise that she came in today, recalling that she once said she only comes on Fridays. Ignoring that comment, she mentions seeing him outside the shop, and he explains that he was running an errand. As she stares at him, he assumes she is looking at his hair and explains that his coworker styled it, adding that he knows it does not look good. When she remains silent, Masado tells her that although he does not know what happened, she can say whatever is on her mind here, and he reminds her that, as always, he really likes listening to her talk. Hearing this, she breaks down and repeatedly apologizes as she has saw the whole thing. It turns out she was the person who was watching Masado and Mizuho from afar. To her, the scene looks like something out of a novel, as if a prince and princess are meeting for the first time. This makes her wonder who she is in this story, whether she is merely a background character who hopelessly admires the prince, a character readers only want out of the way. She is in denial of this realization, refusing to accept it. She believes it should have been her with Masado, not that girl. More importantly, that girl's face and hair are a mess, and her clothes are dirty, so she convinces herself that she still has a chance. As she becomes aware of her own thoughts, she feels disgusted with herself and starts to see herself as nothing more than a background character, jealous of the heroine and standing exactly where she belongs. Internally, she apologizes to Masado for stalking him. She knows it is a crime and had thought about deleting the data, but she just cannot let it go. She wants to ask him who that girl was and what he was doing with her, yet she knows she cannot. As she clutches her head, lost in these thoughts, Masado tells her that he is sure she is not in the wrong because she is a genuinely good person. Hearing this, she bursts into tears, continuing to apologize both aloud and internally for stalking him, for seeing what happened, and for feeling such jealousy. She also apologizes in her mind for not replying to him earlier, thinking that if he were to end up hating her, she would not be able to bear it. She then leans in and hugs Masado, catching him off guard and leaving him flustered. Still wanting to help her, he accepts the hug, and as he gently pats her back, he tells her that it is okay because he knows she is a kind person. She believes herself to be the worst for not realizing this sooner, concluding that it is all Masado's fault. Since he is the one who made her fall for him, he is also the one who made her lose control. Now all that remains is her desire to claim him and completely ruin him. Thus, she apologizes in advance, knowing she is never letting him go. Meanwhile, at Mizuho's house, she believes the pen belongs to the guy who helped her and finds it oddly familiar. When she notices the branding on it, she realizes it is from her university and wonders if they attend the same one. Realizing this might be the case, she giggles as she buries her face in her bed. Her heart pounds as everything seems to sparkle, a feeling entirely new to her, and she wants to see him again. With this thought, she believes that the threads of her destiny have finally begun to move. A few days after Mizuho was harshly rejected, she explains to Kumi about the boy who helped her when she dropped her contact lens, firmly believing the encounter was destined. She cheerfully expresses her surprise that destiny truly exists, while Kumi turns away, wanting back all the worries that she had. Right after the rejection, Mizuho had been so deeply hurt that it was painful to watch. But later that same day, someone helped her when she dropped her contact lens. Ever since then, she has repeatedly gone on about how that person must be her destined one. Although she has told the same story countless times and it has grown exhausting to hear, Kumi is still relieved that Mizuho has returned to her usual self. Kumi then asks if this is the first time Mizuho has ever truly fallen for someone. Mizuho confirms that it is, explaining that ever since childhood she had believed she had experienced many loves, but now she is certain that this feeling is what it truly means to love someone. As she says this in a soft voice, she blushes, something completely unlike her, which shocks Kumi, only for Mizuho to suddenly laugh it off and claim she was just kidding. Putting that aside, Mizuho holds out a pen and asks Kumi to help her find the guy. Upon closer inspection, Kumi notices that the pen is the same one given to new students, and she points out that there must be countless guys like that at the university. She asks if Mizuho at least remembers his face, to which Mizuho responds by clicking her tongue. With a determined expression, she declares that giving up is when the game truly ends, leaving Kumi to ask why she is suddenly being scolded. Mizuho goes on to say that she can recognize him if she sees him again, remembering that he had slicked back hair, a rather rare hairstyle. Still, she insists that she plans to return his handkerchief and tell him that she is the crane he once helped, now here to repay his kindness. Hearing this, Kumi comments that Mizuho is basically living in a fairy tale. Just then, Kumi receives a notification. When she checks it, she sees it is from Masado, asking her to join him for the third period. After reading the message and pausing briefly, she glances at the love-struck Mizuho. Kumi had always kept her friends at a distance because she did not want them to fall for Masado, but seeing how Mizuho is now, she believes she no longer has to worry about that. More importantly, Masado not having any friends besides her had always made her feel guilty, something she knows is partly her fault. Gathering her courage, Kumi asks Mizuho if she would be okay going to the next lecture together with her and Masado. Surprised, Mizuho asks if it is really fine, pointing out that Kumi had never even let her meet him before. Kumi replies that since Mizuho has already found her destined one, there is nothing to worry about, otherwise, she would immediately fall for Masado after talking to him for even 30 seconds. Stunned by Kumi's blunt honesty, Mizuho remarks that love can truly ruin a person, prompting Kumi to ask if she is making fun of her. Laughing it off, Mizuho admits that she has always wanted to talk to Kumi's boyfriend, only for Kumi to quickly clarify that Masado is not her boyfriend yet. She warns Mizuho not to say anything strange when they meet him, and Mizuho assures her not to worry, though she still advises Kumi to stop hesitating and just confess. But Kumi immediately shuts her down. Meanwhile, Masado receives Kumi's message accepting his request and asking if she can bring a friend along. He replies that she certainly can. Realizing that Kumi is planning to introduce him to one of her friends, he feels happy to expand his circle. But more than that, he is relieved that she has not neglected her own friendships for his sake, something he had quietly worried about. Later, when Masado arrives at the classroom, Kumi calls out to him. As he greets her with a good morning, he notices a girl sitting beside her. Kumi introduces her as her best friend, Tanasaki Mizuho. Masado is taken aback, finding Mizuho to be a different kind of cute compared to Kumi, which makes him briefly wonder if this world is filled with nothing but beautiful girls. Kumi then turns to Mizuho and introduces Masado as her friend, and Masado greets her, saying he has heard a lot about her from Kumi. For some reason, Mizuho does not respond and an awkward silence fills the room. Masado panics inwardly, wondering if he said something wrong, came across as too familiar or sounded creepy. Kumi notices this and calls Mizuho's name, prompting her to snap out of it. She quickly apologizes and tells Masado that she has also heard a lot about him from Kumi, which gives him a bit of relief. Mizuho then studies Masado up close and casually comments that he is pretty handsome, causing Kumi to immediately tell her to stop. Kumi scolds her and reminds her of what she said earlier, while Masado, watching their interaction, finds Mizuho to be quite lively. Finally, Mizuho properly introduces herself. She shakes Masado's hand, gives a small bow, and greets him politely. As Masado holds her hand, he notices how small it is. Although Kumi is petite as well, Mizuho is even smaller, making him worry for a moment that she might somehow break. Later, as class ends, Mizuho comments on how unexpected the pop quiz was, and Masado agrees, though he admits he managed to avoid trouble thanks to Kumi lending him her notes. While checking her bag, Kumi suddenly realizes she left something behind in the classroom, so she tells the two of them to go on ahead while she goes back to grab it. Masado says it is fine since he is not in a hurry and offers to wait, taking Kumi's bag to hold onto for her. Kumi thanks him and apologizes, while Masado turns to Mizuho and asks if she is okay with waiting. Mizuho replies that she does not mind, and once Kumi leaves, the two of them decide to sit on a nearby bench to wait. Mizuho casually comments that Masado is very kind. Hearing this, he asks if it is not normal to wait for someone, but Mizuho shakes her head and says it is not just that. She can tell his kindness runs deep within his heart. She then stands up and tells Masado there is something she needs to tell him. Gripping the brim of her cap as if gathering courage, she cheerfully explains that she wants his help finding her destined partner. She admits she cannot go into details but says her destined partner is a first-year student at the university, and she was hoping Masado could help her find him. Masado nervously agrees and asks for the boy's name, only to be shocked when Mizuho bluntly replies that she does not know it. He asks if she at least knows the department or any distinguishing traits, but Mizuho confesses that she is not even completely sure the boy is a first year, nor does she know his department. The only thing she remembers is that he had slicked back hair and was around Masado's height. Hearing this, Masado falls silent in thought. Earlier, when Mizuho first met him, she had felt like she had heard his voice somewhere before, and as she realizes where that thought is leading, she quickly stops herself. Masado is Kumi's crush. She should not even entertain such thoughts. Instead, she asks him if he could use his connections to let her know if he finds someone matching her description. When he does not respond right away, she wonders if she has asked for too much, but Masado then admits that he would like to help, though he does not really have any friends. Mizuho is genuinely surprised and wonders if it is because he started late at the university, but even so, he promises to let her know if he happens to meet someone who fits her description. Overjoyed, Mizuho thanks him and briefly worries that she might have made him feel bad. Just then, Kumi returns, and Mizuho immediately tells her that Masado has agreed to help find her destined one, though he admits he is uncertain since he does not know many people. Even so, she continues insisting, clearly enjoying herself. Mizuho finds Masado to be exactly as Kumi had described, kind, funny, and a genuinely good person. She wonders if the three of them can continue spending time together like this, feeling that from now on, her life might become even more fun. Eventually, Kumi parts ways with them as her train arrives, waving goodbye. As Masado and Mizuho start walking, Mizuho realizes they are heading down the same street, which makes her feel a bit guilty toward Kumi. At the same time, she sees it as a good opportunity to ask about their relationship, so she brings it up. Masado reassures her that there is nothing suspicious between them and that they are just friends. Mizuho finds that hard to believe, pointing out that they are always together. He explains that Kumi was incredibly kind to him when he needed it most, and because of that, he does not want to betray her kindness. Mizuho is stunned, wondering if he truly means it, but she feels relieved knowing he is being sincere. Still, noticing that he seems oblivious to Kumi's feelings, she jokingly calls him a heartbreaker while silently wishing Kumi good luck. Suddenly, her eyes widen as she notices someone familiar. She quickly hides behind Masado, not wanting to be seen. It turns out to be Kato, the boy who rejected her, and judging by the way he is speaking to the girl beside him, it seems he told her about the confession. He tells the girl named Satsuki that because she told him to talk to first years more often, a delusional girl like Mizuho ended up confessing to him. Mizuho is so embarrassed she feels like she could die. Her body trembles as she quietly suggests to Masado that they should leave. Kato notices her and leans closer, mocking her and calling her an ugly burden who cannot survive without clinging to men. The rejection and humiliation overwhelm her to the point that she starts shaking, her voice refusing to come out. More than anything, she does not want Masado to see her like this, fearing he will be disappointed in her. Tears begin to well in her eyes as she desperately tries not to cry and look pathetic like she did before. Masado steps forward and says that while he does not know the full situation, there is something he does know, and he tells Kato to take it back. When Kato asks who he is, Masado introduces himself as Mizuho's friend. Kato smirks, saying he knew no one would ever date someone as ugly as her. In response, Masado loudly fires back that Mizuho is not ugly, she is cute. The words catch her completely off guard. As Kato stands stunned, Masado continues, saying that calling her ugly is simply wrong because she is clearly cute, both in her personality and her looks. Kato scoffs and claims that just a few days ago Mizuho confessed to him, which he believes puts him in a higher position than her. Masado immediately questions that logic, asking how the person being confessed to is somehow above the one who confesses. As Kato tries to justify himself, Masado tells him bluntly that he despises that kind of attitude towards someone who showed genuine feelings. While they argue, Mizuho wants Masado to stop, feeling there is no reason for him to get angry over someone like her, but for some reason she cannot speak. Her face feels unbearably hot. Kato then sneers, asking if Masado would actually date an ugly girl like her. Masado snaps back that he would never compare Mizuho to someone like Kato, who only uses others to validate his own worth. Annoyed, Kato declares he is done and tells Satsuki they are leaving. After they walk away, Mizuho peeks out from behind Masado. Masado looks nervous and apologizes, saying it seems like he made things harder for her and only realized it too late. Mizuho tells him she does not care about that, it had always been difficult for her anyway, and instead feels worse for getting him involved. Masado admits he could not help stepping in, and as an apology, he offers to buy her something to drink. In her mind, Mizuho keeps telling him to stop. He is too kind and she already has someone she is set on. More importantly, Masado is Kumi's crush and the thought makes her chest ache with guilt, knowing Kumi cannot even say her feelings out loud. She forces herself to laugh cheerfully and thanks him, explaining that she confessed and got rejected, and that if she had known Kato was like this, she would have never confessed. Masado sees straight through her forced smile and tells her she does not have to pretend when she is hurt. He says that no one would walk away unscathed after hearing words like that. Mizuho is visibly taken aback, and Masado tells her to wait while he goes to buy the drink. Once he leaves, Mizuho sits down against the wall and wonders if she had always been this easy to sway. She is deeply hurt, and she knows exactly what this feeling is, but she chooses to hold it back. She already has someone she believes is her destined one, and Masado belongs to Kumi. Yet as each second passes, enduring it becomes harder and harder. Quietly, she apologizes to Kumi. Realizing that the feeling swelling in her chest is love, Mizuho finds that liking someone is far more painful than she ever imagined. The next day is Friday, the day Yuka has been looking forward to the most lately. While cleaning the basketballs, she hopes to play with Masado again today. As she thinks about how things turned out last time, one of her friends yells out in frustration, asking why only the first years have to do this kind of stuff. She means cleaning the balls, though Yuka doesn't mind since she gets to see Masado after school. Noticing her excited smile, her friend then asks where she goes every Friday, which catches her off guard. Seeing her reaction, the friend quickly realizes what is going on and asks in a teasing manner if it is a boy. Yuka quickly tries to deny it, but it only makes her friend more certain and prompts her to ask if she has a boyfriend. Yuka denies that as well, since she and Masado do not have that kind of relationship and he is only teaching her basketball. But just the thought of him being her boyfriend makes her blush and smile from ear to ear. This further confirms her friend's suspicion, and they decide to follow her today, which Yuka strongly tells them not to do. She fears that if they see Masado, they will keep coming, and since he is so kind, he would end up teaching them too. She absolutely does not want that to happen, as this time is only supposed to be for the two of them. Just then, their seniors arrive, and one of them asks if they are having fun. She is Yuka's assigned mentor, but Yuka does not like her as she finds her intimidating. The senior then asks Yuka if she has a boyfriend. Yuka quickly clarifies that it is a misunderstanding, to which the senior responds mockingly, saying the boy is probably ugly. Just as she says that, the senior's boyfriend arrives at the scene and she quickly clings to his arm. That senior's name is Meru, who is said to have a nasty personality, and Yuka's friend asks if she is okay. Yuka can handle the teasing. However, she absolutely cannot stand that Meru insulted Masado. Later, she arrives home and quickly changes into her basketball attire, excited to see Masado, as even if something bad happens, it all goes away once she meets him. Just as she is heading out, she notices the towel Masado gave her and recalls that she needs to return it. Holding it in her hand, she thinks it still has a tiny bit of his scent left and brings it closer to her face to sniff. The moment she does, her whole body twitches as she lets out a soft moan. She realizes this is no good, as even though it is washed, she can still smell him on it. But she tries to justify it, thinking no one can blame her for doing this since it has been washed. Just as she is about to take a second sniff, her mother suddenly appears behind her, asking what she is doing and startling her. Embarrassed, she tells her mom not to barge in like that, to which her mom reminds her that Yuka was the one who asked her to make her water bottle. Even so, Yuka is a bit annoyed. She takes the water bottle and quickly heads out while her mom wonders if she checked the weather forecast today. Moments later, she arrives at the basketball court and Masado is indeed there. As soon as he notices her, she strongly declares that today she will finally claim this spot from him while thinking about how cool he looks today. As he puts her bag down, she notices he calls her Yuka-chan, and she likes it better when he calls her without honorifics. She comes up with an excuse and tells him that since they are rivals, he does not need to hold back and should feel free to call her just Yuka. At the end of the sentence, she adds a meek please, realizing she sounded way too dramatic. However, Masado bursts into laughter saying he agrees with her. With that, he calls her Yuka and teasingly declares that today he will take this spot again, which makes her very happy. She suggests they start right away, but Masado reminds her what happened last week and says he will not compete if she does not do her warm-up exercises properly. Yuka agrees and finds him cute even when he is being cheeky. Later, after warming up, they start playing basketball. When Yuka manages to take the ball from Masado and gets past him, she shoots at the hoop and it goes in. The success makes her very happy, while Masado is impressed by how much she has improved and says that at this rate she might actually take this spot from him. Being praised by him makes her even happier and she promises to take it back. Just as she suggests switching to a fence, it suddenly starts raining heavily. They quickly run to take shelter under a covered seating area. Masado then asks Yuka if she has a towel, to which she replies that she does. But her eyes widen in shock as she can see through Masado's soaked t-shirt and finds the sight far too stimulating. Looking at how heavily the rain is pouring, Masado believes there is no way they can keep playing like this, but when Yuka does not respond, he calls out to her. Yuka is far too flustered to utter a reply, her breathing turning uneven, so she covers half her face with the towel. She begins to worry that if Masado finds out she is looking at him with impure thoughts, he will be disgusted and distance himself from her. That is something she cannot allow to happen. She believes she would seriously die from the embarrassment. Determined, she decides to keep looking the other way and not give in to temptation, but just then Masado apologizes and places his hand on her neck. He is checking to see if she has a fever and asks if she is feeling well. Still, she cannot respond. All she can think about is how close he is, soaked and far too attractive. Thinking she might not be feeling well, he wraps his shirt around her. He apologizes, saying that is all he has and that it is better than nothing, and suggests they wait until the rain eases up. As they wait, Yuka's heart refuses to calm down, with Masado in his soaked clothing and her body wrapped in his shirt. It makes her feel as though her whole body is being dyed in his presence. Masado then asks her to turn the other way for a moment, and she quickly complies without question. But then she hears water splashing on the ground, and the sound makes her start to realize why he asked her to turn around. Her suspicion is confirmed when Masado thinks aloud that he brought a spare shirt. It turns out he has taken off his t-shirt. Realizing this, she wonders if she will get to see Masado half-naked if she turns around now. As she continues to debate and justify it in her mind, she slowly turns and catches sight of Masado's back. The moment she sees it, she completely loses her composure and begins approaching him, wondering if she can really go all the way. She stops right behind him, her thoughts running wild. Would anyone blame her if she hugged him from behind and rubbed her cheek against him? After all, no one is watching. Just as she gathers enough courage to act, Masado, who has just found his spare shirt, hears a dull thud. When he turns around, he is shocked to see Yuka has collapsed, her face bright red and a nosebleed running down. As her consciousness fades, Yuka internally tells her mother that Yuka was a coward after all. The next day, Yuka's friends congratulate her on making the starting lineup for the official match, and she thanks them. Though she is happy, she knows she has to earn real results, especially for the people who did not even make the bench. Just as they are leaving, Yuka's senior Meru arrives with her friends and claims they have not cleaned the floor properly, telling them to do it again. She asks whether they will take responsibility if someone from the volleyball team, who is supposed to use the gym that afternoon, gets hurt. Even though they cleaned it properly, she orders them to redo it. Yuka realizes this is harassment, but decides to endure it and walks past Meru, when Meru suddenly calls her name. Meru then plants her foot against the wall behind Yuka in a threatening manner and tells her not to let her selection go to her head. She adds that Yuka only got selected because she is in the coach's favor and warns her not to get the wrong idea. Yuka meekly agrees. Yuka wonders why Meru is so obsessed with tearing her down, even though she was not even originally a bench player. With that thought, Yuka gives a slight bow and asks to be excused. As she leaves, Meru wears a visibly irritated expression. Yuka wonders if it bothers Meru so much to see a younger student in the lineup, she could simply train harder and beat them. But Meru and the others do not even practice in the first place, which leads Yuka to believe clubs like this are very complicated. Moments later, she arrives at the basketball court and, seeing it empty, recalls that today is Sunday. That is why Masado is not here. She still cannot shake off the unpleasant feeling from earlier with Meru, so she decides to practice a little before going home. As she starts playing, she thinks about how much she has improved training with Masado and believes that, thanks to him, she made it into the lineup. With that in mind, she decides to try copying Masado's moves. Because she likes him so much, she can picture him in her head over and over. She begins imitating him, performing a smooth crossover and then cutting forward with a drive. After a roll turn, she shoots the basketball at the hoop, but it hits the edge and falls out. Yuka finds it very difficult to land that final fadeaway. To her, this difficulty only proves how amazing Masado is, and with that thought, she decides to end training for the day. But just as she is packing up to leave, Meru and the other seniors enter the basketball court. Meru and her friends say they are not done practicing and pretend they have just noticed Yuka there, acting surprised. Their arrival at this time confuses Yuka and she wonders why they are here, but judging by their mannerisms, she is certain they followed her. As she greets them politely, they begin mockingly praising her. Meru remarks that maybe if they practice here, they will get good too, which angers Yuka, though she tries to calm herself. Yuka decides to leave and give up the court to them, but just as she is walking away, Meru grabs her hand and stops her. She says Yuka is being too cold and with a sinister grin suggests they practice together, something Yuka cannot refuse. Moments later, as they continue training, Meru mocks Yuka, asking if she is already worn out and whether she thinks she will be fine in an official match. Yuka is extremely tired, panting heavily as she wonders how much time has passed. She has completely lost track. The upperclassmen are taking turns while she is the only one training non-stop. Meru then asks Yuka if she wants to do 2-on-2, saying she needs to experience patch-style play as well. However, Yuka is too exhausted to answer and only wishes to drink some water. Even without her confirmation, they start the match. Although it is 2-on-2, her partner does not even move, making her realize their real intention was never actually to train with her. Even knowing that, she keeps playing, but suddenly her legs stop moving. Normally, it would be easy for her to get past 2 players, but she is far too exhausted. Noticing this, Meru asks if that is all she has and says that if so, she should just withdraw from the lineup. She then tells Yuka to think about how Ayako feels now that she cannot play anymore. At those words, Yuka notices the boy standing at the edge of the basketball court, Ayako's boyfriend. After the bench lineup was announced, Ayako, who had been replaced by Yuka, came to congratulate her and told her to do her best even though she had taken her place. That memory is one of the reasons Yuka decided to work so hard. Just as she is too exhausted to move, Meru deliberately slams her shoulder into Yuka, causing her to fall. Pain explodes through her body, making it hard to breathe. She cannot help but wonder why she has to go through this when she simply loves basketball. Even though she is in a terrible state, Meru coldly tells her to get up, saying the game is not over and asking if she does not know the rules. Yuka cannot get up, she has no strength left. But she also does not want to lose, especially to people like them. Just as Yuka is on the verge of breaking down in tears, a sarcastic voice suddenly cuts in, remarking that it looks like everyone is having a lot of fun. The speaker is Masado, and his unexpected appearance shocks her. Earlier that morning, on his day off, he had been sleeping at home when he received a message from Kumi about her softball club, followed by messages from Sarah and Yuka. He had thought Yuka was incredibly diligent for already being at practice so early, and lately, simply watching her had made him feel oddly protective, which had made him wonder whether this was what having a little sister felt like. At the same time, he had realized that at the rate she was improving, she might soon surpass him, so he had decided he should train as well. When he arrived at the court and saw her with several others, he initially assumed she was practicing with friends, though something about the way they were playing felt off. He had hesitated, thinking it might be a misunderstanding, but he quickly realized that hesitation had been a mistake. Back in the present, Meru demands to know who he is, pointing out that they are in the middle of club practice, and Masado coldly shoots back, asking whether ganging up on one person until she collapses and laughing about it is what club activities look like these days. Yuka is stunned, as it is the first time she has ever seen him angry. Masado then turns to her, hands her a water bottle from his bag and apologizes for being late, and despite her exhaustion and pain, her body reacts with relief and happiness at his presence. He then asks Meru and the others what they hope to accomplish by bullying Yuka, but Meru denies it, claiming they were only testing whether she is fit to be a starter. Masado asks whether they will back off if Yuka proves her ability, and Meru lies that this had been their intention all along and that everything happened because Yuka is not good enough, which infuriates Yuka because they had resorted to this only after failing to defeat her fairly. Masado then asks Yuka whether she can move after taking a short rest. Though she looks confused, he gently pats her head and suggests that the two of them show everyone just how strong she truly is. She agrees without hesitation, and Masado proposes that if Yuka defeats them all, the matter will be settled, suggesting that he and Yuka team up against the 4 of them, an idea Meru initially mocks as ridiculous. Masado calmly points out the obvious height difference between himself and the others, prompting Meru to snap that he is underestimating them. He then sets the condition that if they win, Meru must acknowledge Yuka as a rightful starter without further complaints, and Meru accepts, countering that if Yuka loses, she must withdraw from the starting lineup. Though Yuka does not want to step down, she believes in Masato and agrees, fully intending not to lose. The match begins with Yuka and Masado on offense, and just as she anticipated, 2 of the strongest players immediately move to block Masado, yet they are no match for him as he effortlessly slips past them, leaving Meru shouting at them not to let some random guy break through so easily. As Yuka watches in awe, recognizing once again that Masado is on a completely different level, he gives her a subtle nod, and understanding the signal, she quickly moves into position. When Meru attempts to stop him, he passes the ball to Yuka, and she shoots without hesitation, the ball swishing cleanly through the hoop to give them the first 2 points of the game, much to Meru's frustration. Although Yuka knows she should not be enjoying herself while still fatigued, she cannot help but feel exhilarated, and with renewed determination she and Masado press forward to score again while Meru grows increasingly desperate to stop them. From her time playing with Masado, Yuka knows that if it had been just him, scoring from that distance would have been effortless, yet he chose to pass the ball to her. Even so, she refuses to rely on him to carry her and is determined to prove that all the effort she has put in until now has not been in vain. As that thought crosses her mind, she drives forward and scores again, shocking Meru. Furious, Meru yells at Ayako's boyfriend Shosuke, demanding that he move properly and asking whether he does not care that Ayako might never regain her spot in the starting lineup. She orders him to forget about Masado and focus on Yuka instead, since she is the one taking the shots. Masado praises Yuka, telling her it was a nice shot, and she quickly responds that his pass was just as good. He then tells her that he believes she can break through all of them even without him, instructing her to take the ball next time and attempt to push past them herself while he positions himself to receive a pass just in case. Yuka eagerly agrees because the simple fact that Masado trusts her gives her the strength to try 1,000 times harder. As planned, she prepares to break through the 3 girls when Meru suddenly calls out, demanding to know who Masado is to her. With a blush on her face and a soft smile, Yuka replies that he is someone precious to her. The answer clearly irritates Meru, who clicks her tongue in annoyance. Since Masado is the one person she treasures most, Yuka is even more determined to live up to his expectations. She charges toward the hoop, and although one girl moves to block her, Yuka slips past with a quick between-the-legs dribble and crossover. The second girl tries to stop her as well, but she gets past her just as easily. Just as she prepares to shoot, Meru suddenly steps in front of her. Yuka instantly realizes it is a bad position and that her shot will likely be blocked at this rate. However, she recalls how Masado handles situations like this, and copying his move, she releases the ball toward the hoop. It swishes cleanly through, impressing even Masado, who reflects that he had only mastered that move when he was in high school. After the match ends, Shosuke and the 3 girls begin arguing, and it appears he was telling them to stop bullying Yuka. Shortly afterward, the 3 girls approach and apologize to her, leaving Yuka confused. When she quietly asks Masado whether he knows anything about it, he claims he does not, yet she is certain he must have said something to Shosuke behind the scenes for her sake. Masado then praises her again, saying that her final shot was incredible, and she thanks him with a beaming smile. Realizing that she was only able to make that shot because she had carefully observed and learned from him, she bows deeply and thanks him more sincerely for helping her today. He dismisses it, saying it was nothing and apologizing instead for being late. Confused, she asks what he means, and he explains that he had arrived earlier, assumed she was simply practicing with her teammates, and chose not to interfere until he saw her being shoved to the ground. He believes that if he had noticed the situation sooner, she might not have been hurt. Hearing that, Yuka nearly bursts into tears at the depth of Masado's kindness, while he admits how glad he is that he gets to play basketball with her. He tells her she is truly talented and will surpass him in no time, but she shakes her head and replies that it is not about that at all. She is simply happy to be able to play basketball with him. As she says this, Masado suddenly notices something and tells her to hold on for a second. He gently takes her hand and steps closer, and Yuka immediately panics, her heart racing as she wonders if he is about to kiss her. She feels today's flow to be different, almost like fate is guiding the moment, and she cannot help but think this might be the perfect opportunity. Still, she feels shy about the fact that they are outside. More importantly, the sun is still out and she wonders if she should just close her eyes. Internally calling out to her mother and father, she gently closes her eyes, thinking that today she is giving her first time to someone special. With her eyes tightly shut, she waits only to realize that Masado has merely drawn close to apply a bandage to her injury. He apologizes for not noticing sooner that she was hurt, and Yuka is left completely stunned. Overwhelmed, she suddenly wraps her arms around him, catching him off guard as he awkwardly asks what is wrong. Even though it was not the kiss she had imagined, she is still deeply happy that he cares so much. Even if he thinks she is strange for hugging him so suddenly, she wants to pour out all her failings in that embrace. Masado gently pats her head and tells her she did an amazing job today, adding that she looked really cool out there. Her face turns bright red at his words, and in that instant she fully realizes that she loves him. From that moment on, she feels as though she can see no one but Masado, only him, and as if to confirm her own heart, she tightens her arms around him just a little more. Later that night, after getting fresh, Masado goes straight to bed, but as he is getting cozy with the futon, he realizes he should reply to some of the messages he received before going to sleep. As he checks his phone, he sees a message from Yuka thanking him for today, while Sarah has also sent him a thoughtful message. Among them, however, Mizuho has not seemed very energetic lately, which makes him hope she is okay. Now that he thinks about it, most of the people he has grown close to since coming to this world are women. Although he gets along with some male seniors at work, it is not like they keep in constant contact. Just as he is thinking this, he notices a message from Kumi asking about his plans for tomorrow. He replies that he has tutoring tomorrow, which confuses her, and she asks if the student is a girl, something he does not notice. Moving on, after replying to all the messages, he decides to sleep. As he closes his eyes, he recalls that it has been 2 months since he came to this world and finds it surprising how things have somehow worked out. Although Eika warned him about other women, aside from the occasional persistent flirt, he believes nothing has really been a problem. Instead, all the women he has gotten to know have been good people. Thus, he believes that from now on he should be able to live a normal life. Meanwhile, Kumi is still waiting for his answer regarding whether his student is a girl or not. She is really worried about it, because if it is a boy then it is fine, but if it is a girl, that is a whole different story. Ever since she fell for Masado, she has been really happy, but it has also brought her new worries as there are so many girls around him. Even worse, Masado is completely unaware of his own attractiveness. Another thing that has been bothering her is what kind of job he does on Fridays, as he will not tell her. However, despite all that, she is determined not to back down no matter who the rival is. Just as she is thinking this, her phone rings with a message, and she quickly leaps up from the bed, believing it is from Masado. Before seeing the message, she holds the phone over her head, praying that it turns out to be a boy, or at least a kid like an elementary schooler. After praying, she prepares herself to see the message, thinking that if it turns out to be a high school girl, that would be a problem too. Much to her shock, it is indeed Masado's message, informing her that he is tutoring a second-year high schooler. The next day he wakes up and is notified of his earnings deposit, which he believes is far too much for just part-time pay. This is all thanks to Eika, who has not only been covering some of his living expenses but also introduced him to 2 part-time jobs. The first is of course the boys' bar, which he could not tell Kumi about when she asked, as it is kind of hard to explain. The other one is being a private tutor every Saturday, which is fine to mention, so he told Kumi about it yesterday. Just as he is thinking about her, he gets a call from her, which makes him wonder why she is calling so early in the morning. Receiving the call, he greets her with a hello but shudders when she calls his name in a cold voice. Without saying anything else, she asks him if he is tutoring a girl and whether he is going to that girl's house again today. Masado is completely confused, wondering why she sounds so emotionless and whether he has done something wrong. Later, after talking with her, he sets out for his student's house, and on the way he admits that he has no idea what sets off Kumi's switches. Though Kumi is normally a sweet and cute girl, sometimes when something flips her switch she becomes scary. Because of that, Masado finds girls seriously hard to understand, and although he once thought he was good at talking with girls, he now realizes otherwise. He wonders if it was because his childhood friend was a girl that he grew up able to talk to them normally without any awkwardness. He even recalls dating a girl who confessed to him, but things did not end well when she assumed that he was simply kind to everyone. She apologized for misunderstanding his intentions and ended the relationship. He admits that at the time he did not handle things well, but for someone who was raised in an orphanage and had been taught that being kind to others was the obvious thing to do, her words hit him really hard. He admits that he treated her the same as the other girls and simply did not feel like acting differently toward only her. Kindness toward others is something that has been imprinted in his mind, and thinking about it now, he realizes that at this point he probably cannot change anymore. While thinking about all these things, he finally arrives in front of his student's house and decides it is time to switch gears. As he presses the doorbell and someone responds, he looks around the house and finds it to be really fancy. A woman then opens the door, greets him politely, and informs him that her daughter, Shiiori, is in her room before asking if she can leave her in his care, a request that he readily accepts. It has been about a month since he started this tutoring job that Eika introduced to him, tutoring her acquaintance's daughter. Knocking on the door, he says it is Masado and asks if he can come in, to which she nervously replies affirmatively. With that, she opens the door to let him in. This girl is Shinomiya Shiiori, a second-year high school student. He greets her, and as she greets him back, he comments that she is not in her school uniform today. She nervously replies that she thought it would be kind of weird to wear her uniform on her day off, so she did not. Hearing this, Masado comments that since he has only ever seen her in her uniform, this new look feels pretty fresh to him and that it really suits her. Very taken aback by the comment, after a brief pause she thanks him and adds that he looks cool too. Masado teasingly replies that compliments will not make him give her less homework. As they get ready to study, Masado finds her to be very demure, completely giving off the proper rich girl vibe. He then notices a book on her table and asks what she was reading today. She picks up the book and tells him that it is a novel by Mr. Takasaka. Masado instantly recognizes the book and questions what kind of life the author must have lived to come up with an opening like that. However, Shiiori does not say anything at first, which confuses him, and after a brief pause she nervously agrees. He finds her behavior a bit awkward and wonders if it is because she realizes he made such a shallow comment on the spot. This leads him to believe that perhaps for a literary girl like her, chatting with him feels somewhat lacking. With that thought, he begins tutoring Shiori, while she steals glances at him, thinking that he looks wonderful again today and still unable to believe that someone like him is actually in her room. She wonders whether someone like her even deserves to be around him, because she believes her real self is plain and frumpy. That is the general impression people around her have of her, which she does not really mind all that much. But she once thought it was okay to dream at least once like other people, such as wanting to have a boyfriend in high school. However, those hopes and illusions were quickly crushed. The handful of boys in her classes are monopolized by the top girls, and the leftovers would never make their way to a frumpy girl like her, which is simply the reality. This makes her feel that she does not really need a boyfriend, because if a boy is rated even a little cool, he is suddenly considered high value. But if he lacks hygiene or is too fat, she immediately finds him unattractive, in which case she believes she is better off not dating anyone at all. More importantly, she does not need them since she has this. This is what they call books for women, and she admits that she loves fantasy novels like these, where the characters have beautiful hearts. The heroes are cool, and there are clear reasons for the heroines to fall for them. Not only that, she finds the boys in these stories to be truly beautiful. While reading them, she sometimes cannot believe that a world this beautiful could exist, which makes her look around at her own surroundings. She sighs in disappointment at how the girls around her act over some average guys, which leads her to believe that, in the end, reality is just trash. Later, as she returns home intending to play some games that day, her mother tells her to wait. As she stops on the stairs, her mother asks whether she has made any friends or perhaps gotten a boyfriend. Shiori replies that she has not and asks what brought this up all of a sudden. Her mother explains that she should experience romance while she is still in school, especially now that there are fewer guys these days. Shiori agrees without really listening, since this is an explanation her mother has given her many times before. Her mother can tell that she is not paying attention, but she sets that aside and asks if Shiori's college choice is still the same, to which Shiori confirms that it is. Her mother then informs her that a friend of hers knows someone who attends that college, and she is thinking about asking that person to tutor her, which shocks Shiori. She protests that she does not need something like that, but her mother insists that she at least meet them once, since they are coming this Saturday. As she heads toward her room, she finds her mother extremely pushy. She believes she can study on her own since she does not have any friends and therefore has all the time in the world. Moreover, she believes talking to people is just a real pain in the neck, so she plans to make up an excuse to send the tutor back. The next Saturday, Shiori returns from school and lies on her bed reading a book, finding the protagonist to be incredibly strong and super kind. But she reminds herself that, of course, he is perfect because he is fictional, and she believes there is no way someone like that could exist in real life. Just as she is thinking that, her mother informs her that her tutor has arrived, and she replies that she is coming. However, she suddenly notices that she is still wearing her school uniform, though she decides it does not matter since she plans to send the tutor back anyway. As she opens the door, thinking that being tutored right after having morning classes is such a drag, she is greeted by her tutor. That person is none other than Masado, and the moment she sees him she freezes with her face turning red. Her mother then introduces Masado, explaining that this is the boy she asked to tutor Shiori, and teasingly asks if he is not handsome. Completely shocked, Shiori blurts out a confused "wah," which Masado repeats in confusion. She then hurriedly pushes both her mother and him out of the room, asking them to wait outside for a moment. After closing the door, she falls to her knees in embarrassment, flustered that nobody told her her tutor would be a guy. Her mother, standing outside the room, asks what is wrong with her, while Shiori is convinced that her mother deliberately did not tell her. Because of that, she internally calls her mother an evil witch and even considers telling her father that her mother hangs around boys' bars. Setting that aside, more importantly, she notices that her room is a mess, with clothes left out and her games still lying around. Even worse, her shelf is full of books she absolutely cannot let him see since they are lewd erotic novels. She cannot afford to let him see any of that, so for now she decides to cover them with a sheet. With that settled, she uses the mirror to fix her appearance while thinking that maybe that guy was actually kind of good-looking. After taking care of everything, she opens the door and apologizes for keeping him waiting. As he enters the room, he apologizes as well, saying that the message he sent before coming probably did not go through. She replies that it is fine and assures him that it is really her mother who is at fault. As he thanks her for showing him a seat, she becomes extremely flustered and confused about what to do since a hot guy is suddenly in her room. She decides to calm herself down, reminding herself that there is no way something this good could actually happen to her in real life. With that thought, she wonders if, as a trade-off, he might have an awful personality or something like that. Masado then suggests that today they simply talk and afterward she can decide whether she wants to hire him as her tutor, to which she agrees. However, she is frustrated because her voice comes out really small, and with how overwhelming this situation feels, there is no way she can talk the way she normally does. Masado then tells her that since this was so sudden for her, it might be awkward to give him her decision directly, so he suggests that she can just tell her mother later instead. His behavior confuses her greatly, because not only is he good-looking, he is also far too nice. She had expected him to say something like she should be grateful or something like that, yet he does not. Even so, she tells herself not to get tricked, wondering if he might simply be acting nice in order to get the job. Masado then asks Shiori why she wants to go to his university, to which she replies that the facilities there are really nice and the library is big. Hearing this, Masado smiles and enthusiastically asks if she is a book lover. Flustered, she internally tells him to stop flashing that sparkly smile while he asks what kind of books she likes. She is completely taken aback by the question because she had not thought that far ahead, and she obviously cannot tell him that she loves cheesy hero and heroine stories, since she is certain he would find that creepy. Searching for a safe answer, she replies that she likes literary fiction, which makes Masado comment that it is impressive, especially since he cannot really bring himself to read such formal writing. He adds that although he once tried reading some pulp titles, he realized they were not really for him. Hearing such an honest answer, she internally apologizes because she does not read that kind of literature at all either. Setting that aside, she realizes things are getting bad because he is not slipping up at all, and she refuses to believe that someone this perfect could actually exist. Thus she comes up with an idea, believing that if a plain potato girl like her says something rude, he is bound to show his true colors. With that thought, she tells Masado that he can feel free to turn her down, since he probably would not want to tutor a plain girl like her and would rather teach someone prettier, adding that he must have had plenty of other offers anyway. Even Shiori herself believes she is being petty and unpleasant, and since everyone hates high-maintenance women, she hopes that with this comment he will finally reveal his true nature. However, Masado simply replies that it does not matter, because if she is trying hard to get into his university, then no matter what kind of girl she is, he will do everything he can to help her. He adds that besides all that, he actually thinks she is a truly wonderful person and reveals that when he first saw her earlier, he thought she was really beautiful. Completely stunned by his response, Shiori begins to believe that perhaps a hero from a story has somehow crossed dimensions just to meet her. Later that night, Shiori is thrilled by the fact that someone like Masado will be coming to her room every week from now on. More importantly, he told her that she was pretty, which makes her bury her face in embarrassment while imagining what might happen if something accidental occurred between them. Holding her favorite book high and declaring that Masado is exactly like the prince on the cover, something suddenly catches her eye. She gets off the bed and walks straight to the mirror. As she looks at herself, she realizes that she does not look the part at all, because beside the hero there is always a lovely-looking heroine which feels only natural. Because of that, she believes there is no way a lame, glasses-wearing high school girl like her could end up with such a cool hero. Thus, she concludes that she has no choice but to become more like the heroine and calls out to her mother, asking her to teach her how to do makeup. From that moment on, she changes her entire lifestyle, stopping the habit of braiding her hair and switching from glasses to contact lenses. With that new look, she goes to school the next day, and the moment she enters the classroom, the few girls already there instantly notice her. Sitting at her seat, Shiori hopes she does not look weird and assumes that the girls staring at her are probably wondering what a frumpy girl like her is trying to do. Just as she is thinking that, two girls walk up to her and begin staring at her, which terrifies Shiori. However, one of them then speaks in a friendly tone and asks if she got a makeover because she gives off a completely different vibe now. Their approach surprises her greatly, and once her fear fades, she confirms that she did. Just like that, she ends up making friends in her class, which amazes her because she used to think that normies were a completely incompatible species. Yet once she actually starts talking with them, they get along surprisingly well. Although Shiori thinks they are a bit materialistic, she realizes that she was the one who had been shutting people out until now. Later, Shiori goes to a clothing store with her friends, where one of them asks if she is going for a prim and proper look and suggests some clothes that would suit her well. Since Shiori barely has any casual clothes, her friend picks out several outfits for her, one of which she plans to show Masado. With this new look, she becomes convinced that she can finally stand beside the hero. Just as she is thinking that, Masado arrives to tutor her and standing outside her room asks if he can come in. After she gives permission and he enters, Shiori once again finds him shining blindingly bright, and it takes everything she has not to blurt out how unbelievably handsome he is. Masado then notices a book on her table and asks what she is reading today. Seeing the book still lying there shocks her, because it is actually an erotic novel. Fortunately, she disguised it with another book's cover, so it should be safe since he would never know. When she replies that it is a work by Mr. Takasaka, Masado comments that he wonders what kind of life the author must have lived to come up with an opening line like that. However, since Shiori has not read even a single page of the book hidden behind the fake cover, she cannot respond at all. Because of that, she decides that next time she reads a book, she should actually read the one matching the cover. As Masado begins teaching her, she finds the moment blissful because although she does not like studying that much, she loves the time she spends with him. When Masado notices from her reaction that she is struggling to keep up, he admits that this part is difficult to follow. Hearing that, Shiori internally apologizes to him, thinking that even though he is explaining everything so clearly, she is simply too dumb to keep up. Thus, she decides to focus and understand everything so that she does not become a burden. Just as she is thinking this, Masado moves very close to her, and from behind, informs her that he will trace the words with his finger so she can follow along more easily. As he continues speaking, Shiori becomes far too flustered and wonders if a private ASMR session has just started for her. Not only that, she can also feel his hand resting on her back, which makes her mind go completely haywire. Because of this, she accidentally lets out a small oof, confusing Masado while she abruptly leaves the room, saying that she needs to go to the washroom. With her back leaning against the door of her room, she becomes extremely flustered at the thought that she actually said something like that. She then heads straight to the washroom while still feeling the lingering sensation of Masado's touch on her back and near her ear spreading through her body. Realizing that the prim and proper mask she has maintained is already beginning to crack, she believes that she is not entirely to blame, as the situation is simply unfair. While Masado remains in the room wondering if he had gotten a little too close, Shiori in the washroom becomes painfully aware that such filthy desires are not befitting of a heroine. Yet just for this moment she wants to release the overwhelming feelings building inside her, and thus in the bathroom she blurts out that she had wanted to push him down so badly. She wonders what kind of face Masado would have made if she had actually done it, because she no longer wants to feel him only through their clothes but directly against his body. With that thought, she becomes determined to conquer her lewd private tutor, no matter what. A few days later, Sarah arrives at the office and notices on the attendance board that Maki has taken Friday afternoon off. She recalls that Friday is usually the night for what they call the banquet, which means going to the boys' bar after work. But since Maki has taken that day off, she wonders if she is not going this week. Just as she is thinking this, Maki arrives and greets her with a good morning, to which Sarah replies with a good morning as well. As Maki tries to motivate her by saying they will make it through this week, Sarah asks about her day off, to which Maki assures her that she will still be coming to the banquet. As Sarah replies that she understands, Maki smirks and wraps an arm around her. Then with a mischievous smile asks if she does not want to know the reason, teasing her, and Sarah plays along by saying that she does. With that, Maki leans in and whispers, asking if she knows what a companion shift is, and upon hearing this, Sarah slightly backs away in shock, as from what she recalls, it is a system where girls meet up with a host beforehand, and then after spending some time together go to the bar. This is exactly what Maki is doing, as she reveals that she is going on a date with Yusuke and will then head to the bar later. She explains that the bar does not usually allow boys to accompany them unless the girl is one of their favorites, so Yusuke agreeing makes her think she has become a favorite. Learning all this, Sarah feels really jealous and asks Maki if the host asked her out himself. But when Maki does not respond and averts her gaze, Sarah realizes that she was the one who asked him. She feels relieved upon learning this, as she believes that if Maki had truly been asked out by a host, her teeth would have been gritted from sheer jealousy. Setting that aside, Sarah wonders aloud if she should try inviting Masado as well, which Maki thinks is a great idea, pointing out that Masado likes her too, so he will gladly agree, and more importantly reminding her that their bonus payday is coming up, which Maki believes is the perfect time to enjoy a companion outing with a ready wallet. As Maki heads toward her desk, humming and wondering aloud if she should give Yusuke a present, Sarah finds herself liking that idea too, vividly imagining sitting in a restaurant with Masado, and after handing him a small box, she walks toward him. And as he opens the box to reveal a ring, Sarah steps behind him and taking the ring, charismatically asks where she is supposed to put it. But then she stops her imagination, realizing that doing something so sudden would scare him off. Moving on, she writes a message to Masado, asking if he would like to go together with her this Friday, and adding that he can say no if he wants. Sarah believes this is her chance to take a new step forward and presses the send button, thinking that she would be happy just grabbing a bite to eat before going to the bar, as even that alone would be a special time for her, especially because she does not want to remain just a customer to him forever. A few moments later, as she is working at her desk, her phone lights up with a notification, and as she anxiously checks the message, she is overjoyed to learn that Masado has accepted her request. Later that Friday, Sarah is in a public washroom, thoroughly cleaning herself with tissue paper and checking whether she smells sweaty. And after finishing, she steps outside and fixes her makeup and hair in the mirror. And with that taken care of, she goes outside and stands waiting for Masado, as it is almost time for their meeting. She finds it really strange that just the thought of meeting him outside the boys' bar makes her heart race more than usual, and she never knew something like this could make her this happy. And just as she is thinking that, Masado calls out to her. He arrives in casual clothes and apologizes, asking if he has kept her waiting, but she does not respond, as all she can think about is how angelic he looks, though she quickly corrects herself, thinking that he is the devil as his coolness is so overwhelming. She believes that right now she would be happy even if he punched her, though she knows that Masado would never do such a thing. As she looks at him more closely, she wonders if he has dressed a little more maturely to match her, as his shirt's top button is open and she can see his collarbone, and finding it too stimulating, she turns around and accidentally says the word sexy out loud. Since he does not quite catch that, Masado asks if she said anything, to which she quickly replies that it is nothing and assures him that she has not been waiting long at all. With that, she tries to change the subject and suggests that they get going, while Masado thanks her for making the restaurant reservation, and after saying this, he smiles at her and says that he is looking forward to it. Seeing this, Sarah becomes flustered and covers her mouth, not wanting to say out loud how impossibly cute he is, and she wonders if this is really a date and whether they are on the same page about it being an actual date. Moments later, they arrive at the restaurant and sit at their reserved table where Masado comments that the place is nice, and Sarah replies with a giggle, teasing that he is still a kid for getting happy over something like this, which makes him a bit shy. He argues that he is definitely grown up, while Sarah internally thinks that this very behavior is what makes him so cute. Setting that aside, she notices that all the girls in the restaurant are staring at Masado, which she finds a little annoying, though she cannot really blame them, and right now she feels an indescribable sense of superiority over them, internally apologizing as she thinks that this boy is hers. Moving on, she slides the menu toward him, telling him to order whatever he likes as she will pay for it, but Masado asks to at least let him pay a little, to which she argues that since she is the one who invited him, she will not let him pay a single cent. She assures him that she is not short on money and believes that the only thing worth spending money on is him, which is why she had initially wanted to choose an even more classy place, but she realizes that it might make him too nervous, which she does not want, as she simply wants him to enjoy himself. After ordering as he eats, Sarah internally asks how it tastes and feels glad seeing his reaction, finding the sparkle in his eyes just like that of a child, and she also finds the way he eats to be elegant and wonderful. While thinking all this, she internally confesses how much she loves him, realizing that even in little things like this, the things she loves about him keep growing. Later, after finishing the meal, Masado admits that the food is insanely delicious, saying that he cannot remember the last time he ate something this good, and Sarah responds that she is glad that he likes it. She finds his reaction to be so pure and adorable, almost as if he knows nothing dirty at all, and that is exactly why, to confirm this, she asks him why he is working at the boys' bar. Although she is aware that she should not be asking something like this, the more she learns about him, the more she wants to know, and in a sense his job involves selling himself, yet from the time she has known him, Masado does not seem like the type to willingly choose this kind of work, as he even stands out at the bar. When he hesitates to answer, she realizes that he really does not want to reveal it, and thus she apologizes for asking something so difficult, but he assures her that it is nothing serious and explains that he does the job because he does not have money. He reveals that he originally lived in an institution, and that someone at the bar treated him kindly, thanks to whom he was able to start working there. Feeling nervous, she wonders if by institution he means an orphanage, and as she repeats the word, Masado explains that he is an orphan. Upon hearing this, Sarah quickly apologizes, but Masado assures her that he is not bothered by it at all. Even so, she realizes that she let her own curiosity take over without thinking about his feelings and ended up asking something so thoughtless. Masado then stands up and reassures her again that it is fine, adding that now he is fortunate enough to live a normal life. And with a smile, he expresses that he is truly happy with this normal life. Seeing his expression, Sarah is genuinely captivated by him and feels a mixture of many different emotions all at once. Later, after leaving the restaurant, Masado thanks her for bringing him to such a wonderful place, and she replies that it is nothing, as it was her way of saying thanks, to which he points out that he has not been able to give her anything in return. Hearing this, she wonders what she could possibly want from him, and after looking at him, she smiles, then asks if he would like to go out with her again, to which he instantly agrees, making her happy that she has naturally set up their next date. She then wonders if next time, instead of going out before his work, they should go out after, as she believes they are no longer just customer and staff, and she feels that if something troubles him in the future, she will be there to listen as someone he can rely on, now that they have become something more. With that thought, she stops walking and asks if it would be bad if they held hands all the way to the bar, which leaves him speechless, as the request catches him off guard, and thinking about it makes him flustered. He then turns his head away and covers his face with one arm, while the other slowly reaches out to her, and in a meek voice he says that it is no problem. She takes his hand, and the way he nervously reaches out makes her heart race even faster. And she believes that because she has come to understand his heart and grown closer to him, he is slowly opening up to her. She finds this feeling absolutely wonderful, seeing him as both cute and cool at the same time, yet also as her poor and pitiful Masado, and she internally assures him that it is okay, as she will work harder so that he does not have to continue this kind of job. In that moment, a new feeling is born within her, a powerful desire to protect him, and she resolves to never let him see anything filthy, to grant him whatever he wishes, and to never let him suffer, and for that, she wishes to stay together with him forever, for eternity. The next day, because it is too hot and Masado does not want to turn on the air conditioner to save on the electricity bill, he goes outside. He heads straight to the basketball court, which usually stays empty, but since it is Sunday, he believes there might be people around. Just as he suspects, there are indeed many people playing basketball. Much to his surprise, as he gets close to the fence, he notices a familiar face. It is none other than Yuka, who does not seem to be playing alone today. As he begins to worry that she might be getting bullied like the other day, he realizes that she is actually having fun playing with the other students. When one of her friends says she is tired, Yuka suggests taking a break, surprising Masado with her leadership, which he finds refreshing. Setting that aside, as he turns to leave, believing he should not interrupt them, Yuka notices him and calls out to him. As she stands on the other side of the fence, Masado asks if she noticed him, to which she confirms, saying she can tell when he is around. He then apologizes for trying to leave, explaining that he thought he would be bothering her. As he prepares to leave anyway, Yuka asks if he is really going home already. Just then, all of her friends gather around her, asking who Masado is, startling her. One of her friends realizes that he is the guy she hangs out with on Friday, which leads another girl to ask if he is her boyfriend. Flustered, Yuka quickly tries to clarify that Masado is just teaching her basketball since he is really good at it. As her friends say they understand, Yuka sighs in relief, only to be shocked when they ask Masado to teach them basketball as well. Later, when Masado agrees to teach them, Yuka sulks. She had told them about this place because it was hot and humid inside the gymnasium, but if she had known it would turn out like this, she would not have done that. As she thinks about this, she notices her friend Miho shaking hands with Masado and wonders why she is doing that. Feeling annoyed, she internally tells them that Masado is hers, not theirs. As Masado teaches the girls how to bounce the basketball, Yuka is surprised to see how focused they are. She realizes that all of her friends like playing basketball too, and just as she thinks that, Masado reveals that he taught the same thing to Yuka as well. Hearing this, she realizes that even if he teaches everyone, she is still the one who gets to spend time with him. She considers those moments their special time and would be even happier if it is the same for Masado too. Setting that aside, she notices that her friends have started calling him Oni-san. This really annoys her, and she internally questions why they are calling him that when he is only her Oni-san. But since everyone is now calling him that, she wonders if she should call him Masato-san instead. Then she remembers that he was really happy when she called him Oni-san before, so she wonders if she should call him Masato-ni-san instead. Later, as their practice finishes, Masado praises everyone, saying they did good work and should keep doing their best in club activities as well. Just as Yuka is drinking water, her friend Miho asks Masado what kind of person Yuka is to him, causing Yuka to choke on her water. Flustered, Yuka quickly puts Miho in a chokehold before she can ask anything else, but Miho still manages to ask if she is not curious too. Yuka internally admits that the question has lingered in her mind, especially after he hugged her the other day, which makes her wonder if he likes her too. However, much to her disappointment and horror, Masado says that maybe she is like a little sister to him. She admits that they are really close and that she is aware he treasures her too, but she feels that being his little sister is not enough. As long as he sees her as just a sister, he will never fall in love with her, meaning she cannot be his girlfriend even though she is in love with him. Deciding to do something about it, she glances at Masado, who catches her gaze and returns it with a smile. This makes her extremely flustered, and she becomes certain that she wants to make him fall for her. Just as she is thinking that, Miho suddenly asks Masado if he has a girlfriend. Hearing this, Yuka quickly tells her not to ask such things so suddenly, but Masado replies that he does not have one. While Miho finds this unexpected, Yuka feels relieved, knowing she would have started crying if he had said he did. However, Miho suddenly declares that she will volunteer to be Masado's girlfriend, shocking Yuka, who reminds her that she said she already has a boyfriend, while Masado awkwardly laughs it off. As her friends prepare to leave, Yuka approaches Masado and thanks him for today. He replies in kind, saying it is no problem, and also apologizes for intruding on her time with her friends, to which she assures him that it is not an issue at all. Then in a soft voice, she nervously asks if he would like to come watch her next game. Masado says he would absolutely love to see her play, which makes her very happy, though there is something else she wants to say. She internally admits that she does not dislike being treated like a little sister, but she wants to take their relationship a step further. However, she cannot bring herself to say it and instead tells him it is nothing, after which Masado suggests they should get going. While she internally calls herself a coward, Masado tells her that he will practice with her anytime. She replies that she wants to practice one-on-one next time, and Masado laughs and agrees. With a smile, he adds that if he is going to teach her, it is better if it is just the two of them. This catches her completely off guard, and as she agrees, she wonders if Masado also wants it to be just the two of them. As she is thinking that, Masado notices her shoes and points out that they are quite worn out and not even basketball shoes. Yuka replies that although she does have indoor basketball shoes, she wears sneakers when playing outside. Masado then suggests that she should wear proper basketball shoes even outdoors, and when she asks why, he explains that they reduce the risk of injury. Since she does not have any suitable ones, Masado suggests that next time they should go shopping to buy her a pair, which takes her by surprise. He says it would be better for her to get proper basketball shoes and asks how about next week, to which she instantly agrees, seeing it as something like a date. Thinking of it as their first date, she bids Masado farewell with a giggle, but then Miho calls out to her. Suddenly, all of her friends jump her, asking why she had not introduced someone like him to them. They question whether Yuka had been planning to keep him all to herself and how far she had gone with him, even calling her a sneaky pervert, which makes Yuka flustered as she tells them not to say such weird things. Despite all the chaos, when she recalls that she and Masado will go on a date, she starts giggling again, prompting Miho to become certain that she has made some kind of move on him. Later, the following week, Yuka, dressed casually, waits near the shopping mall for Masado when he arrives. As he tells her that she is early, Yuka greets him with a good morning and explains that she woke up a bit earlier than usual. Masado then points out that this is his first time seeing her in casual clothing, to which she agrees, as she has always worn basketball gear before. With that, she plays with her hair and asks him how she looks. Since she considers this to be a date, she has chosen the most mature-looking outfit she can so that he will notice her, even if only a little. Masado replies that she looks cute and that the outfit really suits her. Hearing this, Yuka is taken aback by the compliment and thanks him in a soft, quiet voice. Although she is happy, she had actually wanted him to say she looked pretty instead of cute. With that in mind, she grips the strap of her bag, determined to do her best to make sure he notices her properly. Moments later, as they arrive at the sports store, Yuka finds it to be very spacious. Masado explains that they sell more than just basketball gear and suggests heading straight to the basketball section, to which she agrees. She then asks if he has been there before, and he replies that he has, though it almost feels like his first time again. Hearing this, Yuka wonders if the place has been renovated for it to feel so different. Setting that aside, she recalls Masado saying that he never actually trained in basketball, which makes her find him even more impressive, as he is that skilled without formal lessons. She suspects that he may have played other sports before. As she thinks about this, she realizes that she still does not know much about him. While he looks through the shelves for shoes for her, Yuka glances at him and decides that from now on she will learn more about him. After a while, Masado asks if anything catches her eye, but she secretly hopes that he will choose something for her. He then notices a pair similar to the ones he uses, and when he mentions it, Yuka asks if it is true, to which he confirms, adding that although his are the indoor version, he really likes the design. Yuka immediately says she will choose that pair, surprising Masado, who asks if she is not deciding too quickly. She insists that it is fine and calls over a store employee so she can try them on. As she does, she becomes certain that she will take them, while Masado seems slightly unsure, though he ultimately accepts her choice. Meanwhile, Yuka feels happy knowing she will have a matching pair with him. After that, Masado asks if she can wait for a moment, as there is something he wants to buy, and she agrees, wondering what it could be. As she speculates that it might be basketball gear and thinks it would have been nice to look together, Masado returns and apologizes for keeping her waiting. He then hands her a bag, and when she looks inside, she finds the same basketball shoes, which confuses her. Surprised, she tells him that she has money from her mother to pay for them, but Masado assures her that it is fine and tells her to think of it as a celebration for becoming a regular. After saying that, he pats her head and asks if it is okay with her, to which she politely bows and thanks him. He responds that she is welcome and says they should continue practicing a lot from now on, and she agrees with a bright smile. She realizes how happy it feels to receive a present from someone she likes. As she holds the bag close to her chest, Masado asks if she is really that happy, and she nods in affirmation. At that moment, she realizes that even though she wants him to see her differently, she is probably still like a little sister to him. For now, all she can do is quietly savor this happiness. Later that night at Yuka's house, as she lies on her bed, she wonders how she can graduate from being just a little sister. At first, she considers physical closeness, but then recalls that the last time they hugged, it only ended with him patting her head. She realizes she wants something more than that and begins to wonder if it might be a kiss, imagining the possibility. Flustered, she quickly brushes the thought aside, thinking that if she went that far, he would definitely become conscious of her. However, she cannot get Masado's lips out of her mind, and as she holds a stuffed plushie in the air, she wonders how sweet a first kiss with her first love would be. Thinking this, she tries it out on the plushie and even considers going further, but then immediately tells herself she is just joking. From this, she realizes that it seems she will not be able to sleep tonight. The next day, as Masado, Kumi, and Mizuho walk home after classes are over, Masado points out that there is a quiz next week and admits he is not confident about it at all. Mizuho tells him not to worry, saying it will work out, to which Kumi points out that she always says that and ends up barely passing. Mizuho replies that it turns out well exactly because she always cuts it close. Lately, it has become natural for the three of them to hang out together, making it a comfortable and precious space for Kumi. However, that is exactly why she is afraid of ruining everything by confessing her feelings to Masado. At the same time, she realizes that if she keeps hesitating, someone else might take him away, since he can be so careless. Masado then reminds them of mentioning the batting center before and asks if they are free today, suggesting they go together. Kumi quickly agrees, saying she will show him what she is capable of, and Masado laughs, saying he cannot wait to see her hit the ball. Annoyed, Kumi asks if he does not believe her and tells him not to underestimate her as a former softball club member. She then asks Mizuho to back her up, as Masado still does not seem convinced. Mizuho finds Masado's reaction understandable, saying that imagining cute Kumi smashing a ball is a bit hard to believe, and advises him to burn her glorious performance into his memory. Kumi then asks Mizuho if she is coming, but she does not respond immediately, while Masado also waits for her answer. After a brief pause, Mizuho smiles and says she actually has plans today, so they will have to go and have fun without her. When Kumi asks if that is really the case, Mizuho sarcastically replies that it cannot be helped since she is so popular. Kumi finds this unusual, as Mizuho usually tags along whenever she invites her. Just then, Mizuho suddenly dashes away, bidding them farewell, while Kumi tells her to stop. However, she leaves so quickly that even Masado is surprised and wonders aloud if she really was in such a hurry. Kumi, on the other hand, sighs and mutters that Mizuho is an idiot, adding that it is not like she really minds or anything. Not quite catching what she means, Masado asks what is wrong and she replies that it is nothing and that they should go. After today, Kumi decides that she will properly tell Mizuho that she does not find her annoying at all. Instead, she enjoys spending time with the three of them, and more importantly, she cares about Mizuho as well. Later, at the batting center, Masado expresses that since it has been so long, he is getting excited again. Kumi comments that he is like a little kid, to which he replies that things like this are best enjoyed by getting back in touch with one's inner child. Hearing this, Kumi wonders what kind of child Masado was and believes he was probably cool even back then. She then suggests that he go first since he has that eager look on his face, and he agrees. As he excitedly says, "Let's go," Kumi finds him cute. However, when she notices that he is heading toward the 130-kilometer batting lane, she tries to point it out, but he casually replies that it is fine, admitting that he is actually quite good at batting. She has a hard time believing him, but sets that aside when he asks her to hold his bag for a moment, which she agrees to. Holding the bag in her hands, she smiles as she realizes that carrying something like this feels exactly like what a girlfriend would do. As Masado prepares to hit the ball, Kumi, filled with excitement, wonders if she could not just become his girlfriend already. When the balls are launched at him at incredible speed, he easily hits them, impressing Kumi as she calls him amazing. He does not stop there and continues hitting every ball without missing a single one. As Kumi keeps watching him, she blushes, finding him incredibly cool, and decides to record the moment. While she is recording, he hits another home run, prompting her to comment on how amazing he is, to which he casually replies that this level is easy for him. From the angle of the video, she realizes that if she were to post it on social media, everyone would definitely assume he is her boyfriend. As she wonders whether she should put an end to that thought, Masado returns from the lane with a satisfied and happy expression, saying that it was really fun. He mentions that even though it has been a while, he is glad he was able to hit some solid home runs, and Kumi expresses her shock, saying that his skills are on another level. When Masado smiles and asks if that is not true, Kumi's heart skips a beat. Moving on, Kumi decides to go next, but Masado asks if she is also going for the 130-kilometer lane and suggests that she might want to pick a slower one just in case. Ignoring his advice, she hands her bag to him and inserts the coin to begin. Entering the batting lane, she confidently declares that she will prove she is amazing too. With a smile, she tells him to watch closely, which catches him slightly off guard, though he agrees. Then, as the ball shoots toward her, she cleanly hits it, surprising Masado, while Kumi proudly reminds him that she told him so. Determined, she plans to show him her best side and not let a single pitch get past her. Later, however, she regrets it, feeling that she may have overdone it. She realizes she got carried away, and even though they came together, it would be meaningless if Masado did not have fun as well. As she worries about whether he might find her scary for hitting the ball so aggressively, he approaches her and, noticing her expression, asks what is wrong. She quickly composes herself, replying that it is nothing, and then asks him how he feels about athletic girls. Masado asks what she means, and she explains that she is asking about his type and whether he dislikes them. Masado replies that maybe because he spends time with a very athletic girl, he actually likes athletic girls quite a bit. She is taken aback by the mention of him hanging out with an athletic girl, but then reminds herself that someone as cool as him would naturally have girls around him. As she is thinking about this, Masado asks when she started playing softball. She replies that she probably began in upper elementary school, which makes him comment that it is no wonder she is so good. Setting that aside, now knowing that Masado does not dislike athletic girls, Kumi wonders if it is okay for her to feel happy about that. Later, after they part ways, Kumi boards a train to head home. She finds it unsettling because the way things are now, everything feels comfortable, and that is exactly what makes her afraid, as it could all fall apart at any moment. Just as she is lost in these thoughts, she suddenly notices a notification. It turns out to be a message from Masado with an attached image. When she opens it, she sees a photo of herself just as she is about to hit a ball in the batting lane. In the message, Masado writes that he took the picture because he thought she looked really cool and that he is letting her win today's match. Reading this, she blushes, once again reminded of how much she loves him. From that moment, she becomes certain that if she were ever to lose him, she would completely fall apart. Meanwhile, Mizuho realizes that she has been acting strangely, as whenever she is with Masado, she feels like a completely different person. She finds this troubling, especially because Kumi trusts her and has introduced Masado as her fated person, yet now she feels this way. This makes Mizuho wonder if her heart had always been this fickle. She knows that she still wants to find the person she believes is meant for her, the one who had helped her with her contacts, and that feeling has not changed. But she wonders what the feelings she has for Masado are, even though her best friend is the one who likes him, and even though she knows she absolutely cannot fall for him. That is why Mizuho does not want Kumi to force herself to invite her, as she knows she will only get in the way. Mizuho believes that she is already stealing the time they should be spending together, so if she were to interfere any more than this, she would just be a terrible person. However, she realizes that she already is and calls herself an idiot for thinking that Kumi had been inviting her against her will or anything like that. Walking along the same street where she had met her unknown fated person, who is actually Masato, Mizuho wonders if she will see him again. But she realizes that the time and even the day of the week is different from that day, so running into him by chance would be nothing short of a miracle. Even so, she desperately wants to see him and make sure he is the person she truly loves. She believes that if she can do that, then maybe she can hang out with Kumi and Masado guilt-free. Just as she is thinking this, she catches, from the corner of her eye, a man wearing the same suit as the one who had helped her walking past her. Recognizing the uniform, she is in disbelief and nervously calls out to him. However, when he turns around, it turns out to be a completely different person. Still, since the uniforms are the same, she nervously asks if he happens to have a university student working part-time at their place. After thinking about it, the boy replies that they do, which prompts Mizuho to ask if he might know that person's name. However, the boy apologizes and says that it is personal information he cannot share, causing Mizuho to quickly apologize while internally calling herself an idiot. Seeing her reaction, the boy then gives her a card, telling her she can visit their place if she is curious. Mizuho thanks him, and as she holds the card, she is surprised that he actually has a business card. The boy then bids her farewell and with a wink calls her milady, which confuses her. However, she notices that even when he says something like that, her heart does not race at all, which confirms that it is not just anyone who can make her feel this way, bringing her some relief. Setting that aside, she then notices that at the top corner of the card, it reads Boys Bar Festa, which shocks her as it is a boys' bar. She was about to go right away, but after seeing this, she has second thoughts as it completely changes the situation. Later that night, as she researches, she checks the Festa Bar's website, where she learns that to enter one must be over the age of 18. More importantly, she feels frustrated, thinking that places like this must be expensive. Moving on, she wonders if her fated person had only been kind because he is a host. However, she refuses to believe that his kindness was fake, and just as she is thinking that, her phone rings with a notification. It turns out to be a message from Kumi, letting her know that she does not have to be considerate for her and thanking her. Reading this, Mizuho laughs, realizing that Kumi has caught on to her intentions, but believes it is fine as long as she is happy because that is what matters most to her. Then she receives more messages from Kumi, this time with pictures, some of which include Masado. Kumi writes that she took a picture of him from behind and that he also took some pictures of her. Seeing the photos and reading this, Mizuho clutches her collar and questions why it hurts so much. She wants to talk as she always does, saying things like Kumi is now basically Masado's girlfriend, but for some reason she cannot. As these thoughts run through her mind, her gaze wanders to the business card. Holding it in her hand, she realizes that she has no choice but to go in order to avoid hurting both her best friend and herself. With that, she becomes determined to put an end to these feelings she has. The next day, Sarah sits at a coffee shop during office hours, as she has suddenly been told to take the afternoon off. She comes here because there is nothing else to do, and just as she is thinking that, she receives a message from Masado. Earlier, she had asked him if he would be at the bar today, to which he replied that he does not have a shift, which she had expected since it is not Friday. Then he sends another message saying that if she has time, she can go to the bar, as even though he is not there, there are plenty of nice people there. She finds this irritating, wondering why he would say something like that so easily because to her it has to be only him and she cannot think about anyone else but him. Thus, she decides to properly tell him that there is no one else in her sight but him. But now that she thinks about it, she has hardly ever been served by anyone other than Masato. This makes her wonder if there might be other people out there like him, but she believes that possibility is 1 in 100 million. Still, since she has a little time to kill, she decides to go to a different boys' bar to try it out. She finds it very uneasy visiting a different bar alone for the first time. The reason she does not go to Festa is because she does not want Masado to find out that she requested another guy, although she is also aware that he probably would not care about something like that. Just as she is thinking this, her assigned host appears, greeting her good evening, complimenting how pretty she looks, saying it makes him nervous and that he is happy. After a brief pause, Sarah responds to him as he sits next to her. Just as she had thought, it feels completely different, filled with shallow, surface-level words. Meanwhile, Masado had always genuinely meant what he said from the bottom of his heart, even if he was nervous. More importantly, she finds Masado's smile makes him different from this guy in every possible way. The boy then starts talking about work and hobbies, slipping in little compliments between everything. Even though he sounds nice, Sarah can tell he is not sincere, which is to be expected since it is his job after all. That does not mean he is doing anything wrong. Instead, Sarah realizes that she is the one at fault. This makes her believe she has not changed since she was a student, still a twisted and uncute woman. Moving on, she leaves the bar, and even though it has not been an hour, it feels much longer to her, completely different from when she is with Masado, as time passes in an instant. Now, after talking with another host and feeling no flutter in her heart, she feels relieved. Although she does not find it fun to spend her time and money that way, she does manage to reaffirm something important. The certainty that for her, Masato is the only one she wants, and that he is her fated person. Just as she is thinking this, she receives a message from Masado telling her to request him sometimes too, or else he will end up with no customers. Hearing this, she becomes flustered, covering her mouth as she wonders why he makes her heart throb so much. Reading his message, she is overwhelmed by the desire to meet him right now and wants to make him understand that he is the only one for her. She wants to hug him tightly and tell him that she cannot see anyone but him. More importantly, she wants to make it so that, in his heart as well, there is no one but her. Setting that aside, she first writes a message assuring him that he is the only one she requests, but then wonders if it is a bit too direct. So she changes it to say that if he insists, perhaps she will consider requesting him, but that makes her sound too condescending. Thus, she decides to scrap it and write something that is not too pushy but still conveys how she feels. In the end, she writes that she will only request him because she genuinely enjoys talking with him. After sending the message, she hums as she walks home, determined to make sure he ends up happy. The next day, Sarah goes out with some of her friends who are talking about their boyfriends. Although this is supposed to be a get-together with her college friends, everyone except her has a boyfriend, which makes her feel out of place. She had not really wanted to come, as she knew it would end up like this since it is always about boyfriends. Just as she is thinking this, one of her friends asks how she has been lately. After a brief pause, she replies that it has been pretty fun for her, upon hearing which all of her friends suddenly ask if she has a boyfriend and tell her to show them a picture of him. Overwhelmed, she shows them a picture of Masado, whom her friends find handsome. One girl comments that even though he is not a flashy hottie, he has a refreshing charm, while another expresses her jealousy. While drinking, Sarah internally agrees with them, as of course he is handsome and kind like an angel. Just as she is thinking this, one of her friends asks where she met him. Sarah replies that she met him at a bar, and that is why she goes to see him on the days he is working. Hearing this, the room falls silent, and one of her friends asks if the bar might be a boys' bar, to which Sarah confirms. Seeing their troubled reactions, she wonders if she has said something strange, while another friend asks if she is dating him. Sarah replies that they are not dating yet, which prompts her friend to ask how much she is spending on him every month. Hearing this question, Sarah wonders why they are even asking something like that, as money is not the problem at all. She then replies that it is not a big amount, probably about half of her monthly salary. This shocks her friend, who loudly repeats half, to which Sarah casually tells her not to yell. Failing to notice the genuine concern in their eyes, Sarah becomes lost in her own thoughts, imagining giving Masado a gift next time and how happy he will be. Just as she is thinking that, one of her friends suddenly advises her to stop seeing him and suggests that next time she will ask her boyfriend to arrange a mixer that Sarah should attend instead. This catches Sarah off guard, and internally she thinks that she is not interested in any of that and does not want to spend money on any guy except Masado. Her friend then adds that she is going to say something harsh and continues by saying that Masado is using her for money. It is not only her, All of her friends are looking at Sarah with concern, while she realizes that they think Masado is the same as all the other random hosts. Since she has gone to other bars to check, she assures her friends that Masado is not that kind of person. She also adds that he only works 1 day a week and that she is his only regular. Even though she says this and believes it herself, her friends continue to look at her with expressions of pity and worry. One of her friends then holds her hand and again suggests that she go to the mixer and drop the guy, insisting that they are doing this for her sake. However, Sarah snaps at them, asking what they mean by saying they are doing this for her sake, arguing that if they truly cared, they should be supporting her instead. As her friend asks her to calm down, Sarah continues, questioning whether they know what she had gone through, and adds that when things had been painful and awful, it was Masado who saved her, so he is not like other guys. With that, she asks why they will not understand. She insists that he always worries about whether she is spending too much money and says such kind and gentle things to her, so she wonders what is wrong with paying him if it helps him even a little, especially when he is doing this job just to support himself. She then tells her friends to stop worrying about pointless things, insisting that everything will turn out fine. Even so, her friends still look at her with concern, while she internally urges them not to. Unable to take it anymore, she leaves, and on her way out she continues to hear their words in her mind, that she is being deceived and that Masado is using her for money, all of which she keeps rejecting. She refuses to believe what they say, convinced that Masado is not that kind of person and that she knows him better than anyone. Believing she is not wrong, she sends Masado a message saying that she went out drinking with some friends and was invited to a group mixer next time which she does not want to attend. After sending the message, she believes that if it is Masado, he will definitely try to stop her and say something like he is there for her. However, instead, Masado replies that he thinks it is a great idea and that she might even find someone nice. Reading this, she tears up, wondering why he will not stop her, insisting to herself that there is no such thing as someone nice because there is only him, and he is the only one she has. The next Friday, Sarah leaves the office late after her boss pushes extra work onto her at the end of the day, making her decide that she will refuse any overtime on Fridays from now on. Setting that aside, ever since her argument with her friends, a heaviness has remained in her chest, which is why she wants to see Masado as soon as possible. She has also decided that she will only tell her friends after she starts dating him, as they are worried because he is not yet her boyfriend. She believes that once they start dating there will be no problem, and when that happens, everyone will surely celebrate with her. With this plan in mind, she decides to move on to the next stage with Masado. Soon after, she arrives late at the Festa bar and while checking her appearance, wonders if Masado is at the reception desk. However, when she enters, she finds another boy there instead. As she wonders if Masado might be helping with something in the back, the boy at the reception asks if she has come for Masado. Sarah confirms, though she feels a bit embarrassed, knowing that everyone is aware she comes here specifically for him. However, this also gives her a sense of superiority, as she almost feels like the only one who requests Masado. But just as she is thinking this, the boy apologizes, saying that Masado is currently with another customer, which utterly shocks her. She internally questions what he means by another customer and who could be there aside from her. As the boy begins listing the available hosts, Sarah says it is fine and leaves, saying she will come back later. With that, she goes outside and sits near the boy's bar, her head filled with thoughts, blaming herself for being late and thinking that she should not have stayed for overtime and should have come straight here, but instead ended up giving another woman a chance. As she continues to think about this, time passes, and since it is almost time for the customer to leave, unless they extend their time, Sarah tries to console herself, telling herself that it is just a rare customer who came by chance today. Besides, she is the one who spends more money on Masado, so she is the one who receives more affection from him. Just as she is thinking this and convincing herself that everything is fine, Masado comes out of the bar with the customer and her eyes widen at the sight. That customer turns out to be none other than Ms. Yuho. However, Sarah does not know her personally and only recognizes her as the girl Masado had helped like a princess in distress when she lost her contacts. As the two of them chat happily together, Sarah refuses to accept the scene, feeling as though that place belongs to her. Unable to take it anymore, she slips into an alleyway and bursts into tears as no matter how she thinks about it, that girl seems to suit him better. To her, Ms. Yuho is a bright and lovely young girl, and when the two of them talk, it feels too dazzling for her to even watch. She then checks her appearance again in her pocket mirror and thinks that she looks terrible, believing there is nothing she can do about it. However, she decides that she will not give up. No matter how filthy or ugly she may feel, Masado is the only one for her. As Ms. Yuho leaves, Sarah wonders what she should do now, knowing she cannot simply deny that girl outright, because Masado might have his own circumstances and could end up forming a bad impression of her. Instead, she believes it is better to praise that girl and decides to go with that approach. Approaching Masado from behind, she places her hand on his shoulder and comments on what a cute girl that was.